Hey guys, yeah, welcome back. The only closing show you will need today. An exciting day, overall pretty choppy on the market itself, but a lot of headline catalysts coming throughout the midday on individual stocks, on the overall market itself. Yeah, back to the downside we go. 0.87 there for the Dow leading the way, 0.3 for the NASDAQ, 0.3 as well for the S&P. If you missed it again, China's CATL, who is a battery maker and has supply deals intact with Ford and Tesla, has announced that they will delay the start of construction of a U.S. plant to supply Ford and Tesla. And it seems like this is in response to Nancy Pelosi's trip to Taiwan. So that was the initial headline that brought us back to the downside here. But an interesting afternoon setting up. As I said, kind of choppy for the overall market. Doesn't mean there aren't a ton of opportunities on individual names. Let's get a look at the overall board here. Yeah, pretty checkered right across this board, depending on where you're looking. There is some strength still coming out of the consumer discretionary group from the travel names. I mean, there's been so much going on today. We haven't even looked at CCL up 6%, RCL up 3.25%. Remember, they priced a $1 billion senior note offering, did RCL, yesterday. So that was a negative catalyst for them yesterday. But individual names here in the tech group standing out as well in the semiconductors, MPWR, ENPHON with positive report. IT as well up here with a positive report. But Intel's red, NXPI is red, AMAT is red. Basically anything with some sort of tie to China back to the downside throughout the lunch hours. ZBRA, 6.25 to the downside as well in the hardware group there. Offsetting the rest. But you can see on typical for an earnings day, there's a lot of individual names standing out. We were trying to find some beer-related names. If you remember throughout the midday yesterday, there's Molson Coors down 9.5%, TAP off of their earnings report. C down 8%, CF up 4 though in the materials group. So a back and forth kind of board, a back and forth kind of day. There goes APDN again. ILAG as well, another one that was up this morning, starting to go, just popping up on a volume spike. We'll have a look at HKD, obviously. I mean, historic squeeze at this point for HKD. Neil and I were discussing the Volkswagen squeeze going back to the early 2000s. I mean, you can talk about the floats if you want, but this one, you know, size-wise, just price-wise, definitely bigger at this point. AMTD kind of chopping around here this afternoon as well. So much to get to. Thanks for joining us. As always, hope your afternoon is going well. Take a second, guys, if you haven't done so already. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Join us every single day. We'll get into what we were talking about this morning in the pre-market, if you joined us. A ton of opportunities available to you at the open, including AMTD and HKD. Neil is here to talk us through one of his trades from this morning.
Oh, it's not going to be just one trade, Brendan, for the trade of the day here. There's no getting around it. HKD has gone nuclear. And of course, there's going to be this AMTD, which we're going to be following today, finally following suit. One of the things that we've been talking about the last couple of sessions is in the midst of AKD's insane run up, trading down, actually well below 100. I'm only zooming in. You're going to miss out when this started at about $10 last week. And then just stair-stepping to the upside. You're like, can it go past 400? Can it go past 500? Yes, it can. Yesterday, getting to the $1,000 mark in the aftermarket. Can it go higher? Yes, it can. It breaks out again and goes to 2,500. But what was going on was this AMTD, which owned a large stake, it's like 90-something percent, 99% stake in it, had been doing almost nothing. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't break out past $2.10 up until last night when it got a lot of social media attention and started booming and people started saying, hey, long shot, this was $1 before, it's $2 now, let's see it go to the upside. And here's where sometimes overtrading can get you into trouble, because once we broke out, and if you look what's going on with HKD, once we were breaking to 1,000, that's what caused us to finally follow through an AMTD, and it started holding some of these levels to the top side, and then pre-market, you're holding above 800. You're not showing signs of capitulation yet. And the follow-through was just huge on AMTD. And I was in scalp mode. Because fundamentally, you got to understand, how are they ever going to realize this gain in the appreciation from HKD? Not going to at all, probably. So this is a perilous game, and I was in and out taking breakout trades. First, I'm just going to take a simple 8 break, literally play it for the $0.50 and have a tight stop, and then, as I'm doing my prep, I miss the $9 breakout. I'm able to finally get back into this thing, $11, pay myself out right into that next break at 12, take the 12 break, scalp some out, reload 12. This one actually really goes, and we're able to cover some at 14. But if you notice the approach there, it's like pay myself the entire way. It dips back down, I sit it all out until it starts consolidating off VWAP and the $10 level. Once again, pay ourselves 10 in front of 11. We go reload as it's holding these levels to the downside. And then here's where it gets out of hand. You'll see a very big shift once the market opens up. When 9:30 hits, the first breakout when we're holding 10s, wick tops to 12 and then slams down right past that 10 to stop me out. At that point, if you look at what had worked, it was about getting in, paying yourself, getting out, not trying to hold for the home run. But everybody always wants that home run, and I'll tell you why. Because right down here, you're going to see right at the open on HKD, it was testing those lows and then bouncing. You had a 700 test that bounced to 900. You then had a wick bottom through 700 and you're breaking highs. As this is going on, what's the issue in AMTD? You're seeing it bounce off these lows and not follow through. As a matter of fact, instead of just paying myself for longs, catching either solid breaks and consolidation or dip buys, I'm trying to chase the move up and then getting stopped out at the bottom. Even when it starts to go with the consolidation longs, it's like, let's go 8s, let's add some at 9. It can barely make it through 10 where there's tons of selling. If you really think about what had happened, and you'll see that I'm actually shorting this one later in the session, is ever since that open, no matter how high we get, it has been a fade on every single move to the upside. You effectively went from $1,000 to a high of $2,800, and you barely sniffed past VWAP. This is more akin to what was happening the last 2 days in AMTD, where it was safer, realistically, to just be sitting in the short off of highs and resistance and then wait for a flush to come in. Too slow to just look at that wick top and realize the game had changed. Don't be aggressive long on AMTD. There is no avoiding the stock the way they're both moving here today. But sometimes you've got to flip that script at the open. I wasn't fast enough to do it. A fantastic pre-market turns into giving it back when you're just too greedy with some of those longs. But wow, I don't think this is going away anytime soon. Your trade of the day here brought to you by Day Trade the World, guys.
You by Day Trade the World, as always. Thank you, Neil. Yeah, pretty impressive move right across the board for AMTD, for HKD as well. We'll talk about it a little bit more here, but unbelievable. As far as the actual market cap, if you break it down to the market cap size, it's crazy. Like 400 billion at the top for HKD. That's a watch list, by the way. If you want to grab that every single morning, we send it out before we come on for free, guys. Make sure you do that. So here is this note that came out during lunch hour. Or I guess it was a little bit after that, but China CATL pushing back. This is Bloomberg that's reporting this, by the way. Pushing back on a decision by North America or for Nancy Pelosi to go to Taiwan. So now they had plans apparently for a battery plant in North America to specifically supply Ford and Tesla with batteries. And now they're saying they're not going to do that anymore. So, I mean, China being state run, they have the ability to just, flip the switch and change directions on decisions such as this. Is there possibly more to come? We'll have to wait and see. But I mean, Ford with a move down on that, Tesla with a move down on that, Apple with a move down on that. Apple obviously has a lot of ties to the Chinese battery market as well.
Hey, yo. Yeah, no, look, we've been fighting the shorts like all day, and it was nice to finally have something pay off. It sucks I didn't have Microsoft as well, but yeah, we had Apple, we still do have Apple. I mean, we still do have Amazon. So like, these are my trades here. Before the news even came out, I mean, I was short before the news came out, and of course, you do get a little lucky. I mean, who knows? It could have came the other way, and something positive could have came out, and I got stopped out. But this is what happens right there. So there's a couple shorts in there before, and again, it's just noticing that Apple was kind of barcoding in the middle of the day here at 162.50. So I always think that's worth the risk to go short. We liked it so much. We hit it twice. Boom, boom. First out was right there, 161.90. Let it come back up, and then the news came out, and it just started falling. So we cancel our bids, and then it comes back down into here, and we're doing the same thing getting out as we're back into some of those levels that we saw in the morning near that 160, 160.50 area. So yeah, it's a big one for us there, as Apple failing today to hold that green level. You see down 0.5 when the NASDAQ's still green. So that's a very, very interesting thing to look at it when you're looking at relative strength versus weakness. And then the other name that we've been shorting, again, absolutely all day. I mean, every single one of these ticks is purple, which means that we've been hitting this Amazon short all day. Very, very profitable. My number one name. Not just that, it's the number one name on the sticky note today as well. And we'll continue to just cash that in there as, yeah, the top two stocks profit-wise on the day are going to be Apple and Amazon here for you guys on the show. And then we just talked about AMTD, and I told you, like, you know, we're both negative on this name today, and I'm glad that some of you guys on the chat are understanding that as well. This has been a very frustrating name to trade. Look at that tick that I got when, I think this is when it was like 3,000 HKD or something, and I just had an offer sitting at $11, so it ripped up there. We got ticked at 11, and then since then it's just been downside. So I'm going to try to hold the rest of my AMTD and see where we go on this one as well. But yeah, big tech, man. The only other name that I hit was AMD when we broke 100, and that was a hell of a lot of. Oh no, AMD. Actually, I'm going to be up more on AMD and Amazon are going to be very, very close. We actually put on a big trade here because we went short in front of 100. Then when it broke, we pushed along, and that was cash money as that went all the way up to $100.80. So if we're going to talk about big cap tech names, there it is right here. AMD with a banger, Amazon short, Apple short. So some big money being made on the tech shorts, but damn it, I don't have Microsoft.
Yeah, I happened to get into Microsoft. Like, it was one of those, Microsoft made a high at 278, and then it made its lower consolidation at 277, and I happened to get into it. And then that news hit, and it's like, okay, well, I'd already scalped out like a 50-cent winner on it, and then it just starts flushing, and I'm not going to be able to pick a bottom, but that feels like a sentiment change to me. Like, the market had essentially decided to ignore all of the geopolitical risk for more or less the entire day, rallying to the upside. And I just think, like, I don't see how you can't have a momentum turn. Like, I don't see how we get back to the highs after that kind of a rug pull. So back at VWAP, I actually just reloaded in Microsoft right here at VWAP. But it's just been one of those days where you knew this was possibly going to escalate. It wasn't an easy trade to be able to pull off there. Yeah, and we talked about that HKD, and I just want to reiterate something too. Like, you heard us go over that AMTD. HKD for most people is probably the definition of untradeable. Like, you can be, you know, people can be holding longs here, but you know, the idea of actually getting long at some of these prices or trying to actually navigate trading this is near impossible. And I understand, like, it's got a $200 spread. People see dollar signs. Like, but what if it goes to 3,000? This could be the next. Like Volkswagen. I mean, it kind of already did do a Volkswagen in terms of how far it's gone. But ultimately, things like this usually wind down. The question becomes, how long does it actually take to do so? And you know, I can't tell you if anybody that had that answer is going to make a lot of money. The risk is huge here. At least looking back at it, there are ways to learn from AMTD, which was more liquid, which had opportunities for you to get in and get out of trades. HKD was more of a buy and hold, like we said. If you could just stomach some of these consolidation longs and breaks, well, if you can handle $200 against you on a 1,000 long, sorry, on a 1,200 long for 1,000, and like we were saying yesterday, like, those are about the only trades that are there. Like, doesn't really break out the low, then tries to take out this high here at 1,000, goes to 12,000, establishes that 1,000 to 1,200, sorry. And then you get the break, and it's a 1,200 break, probably with a 1,100 with 1,000 stop. And if you ask yourself, like, is that risk to reward good enough? 20%. It then paid it out. That's the same setup we were going through in the chart yesterday. You know, and sometimes it's like you could do that, but just understand that if you try to hero it and don't pay yourself like it was any other trade, this stock could be at $500 tomorrow. I have no clue. So just be real careful when you're trading HKD.
Definitely. Before we get to Uber, there's more, apparently. Money China. Now, I'll preface this by saying this is the same source that this morning said Nancy Pelosi had arrived in Taiwan earlier than the actual flight that everyone was tracking. But apparently an Apple supplier has suspended production at 2 China factories as of today. So we'll see what happens with Apple here going forward. But we had Uber on the watch list this morning as well after a decent report for Uber. Finally cash flow positive since, well, they came to market. Uber up 17.5% here, guys.
Looks like I picked the wrong day to quit. No, anyways. Looks like I picked the wrong day to want to short Uber all day long when the market, even the market tanking right now. Uber did try to break 29 and barely went anywhere. But a lot of times I see a gap up like this. Again, I get it, they're cash flow positive. They're still not a profitable company, but maybe it's just come down too far and people start believing that they can turn the corner. But it held that gap really, really well. And a lot of times when you miss that first move, like shorting it right away off of the first pop where it tested 29, that first trade at the open, that was the best shot because it goes right in, gets to 28.5, and then it just pays you right out down to 27, right? Like that's usually what you're looking for a fade. And I was looking for the fade into 29. When I take the trade, it pays me to VWAP and then make the cardinal sin, which is start back into it before your price. Because that's just going to be taking a hit again, start back in before it gets up to the top. And then when I do get the top, you're barely making anything when it should be like a 50 or 60 cent win. It then stops out the high, which is fine. And on the way back in, I'm now shorting like the 28.80s or so off of that high. But it's just a matter of being patient. When the market looked like it was going to roll to the downside at one point this morning, I was saying lower high in Uber, let's go. It's starting to trend. That short's finally starting to work. Instead, it was just getting short too far away from resistance. If you got a level, just stick to your level. Play with that, because even in the uptrend, things would have been okay if I had only shorted it near the high. But I kept on getting a little bit too aggressive with Uber. Hey, and it's showing its strength. And you look at the daily chart, you know, let's not pretend it's up 17%. It's breaking out on the daily. I just liked it for some resistance when it got to this former low back in March. It's had a bit of resistance there, but relative to the market, this one's been strong. There's no ignoring it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, I did not have it written down now that I look at my sticky note. I mean, I didn't really think about Uber too much today. I mean, I thought it was going down. We talked about that earlier on in the day where I thought Uber didn't have 15 to 17% in this today. But it's still resisting that 29 break, which has been a level that we've talked about. So I think if you're going to look at Uber, you also can look at Lyft. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be cash flow positive or not. I mean, this is down to $16. They may already be, but I don't know. Either way, they're not making any money, none of these companies. So it's a nice move up for Lyft today, up that 15%. It's the same level, man. You got 16 right here. So it's very much near the high of the day at that 16 flat. So, you know, some of these names, as they go, they're just off the bottom. I mean, you are going to get some kind of rallies off the bottom here, right? And I think that's just sort of what we're experiencing right now in many of these names. So, you know, any good news that comes through on sort of an earnings report looks great for them. So, yeah. I mean, congratulations if you were long in the last little while. I don't believe in this move up on either one of these companies, but 1674, 1675, I mean, up to 1850 here. I could see them start to go. So if you want to look at it a little bit, ooh, that's Microsoft. If you want to look at, where is it? EEBR, Uber Eats. If you want to look at something, like look at how extended this move is. It's brought it right back to this level that we talked about before back in May. This is what we talked about earlier today. So it wouldn't surprise me if Uber can get into 31, 32 $2, but I don't think we break above here, let alone go back up to $38, $40. So let's see what happens with Uber, but for me, it's a sell. Okay, right now we just got into either some more Apple shares or what just happened there? Yeah, so more Apple shares short. That's what I mean. Look, see, something just happened there. So I got in and out there on Apple. So not sure, but we have our Apple position on board right now. Short here off of 161. I don't know why I have two ticks there. I got to find out. I think one of my stop orders went in and then out the other way. So hopefully I don't have any wash trades there. But all right, I'm going to find out what just happened with Apple. But we're short Apple right now against what is VWAP here at 161.
Let's go on to some of the chip stocks. A ton of reasons, obviously, to be watching the chips. With what's happening on a geopolitical stance this morning, end up being a decent trade. There's also AMD coming aftermarket tonight. Yeah, nice rally ahead of earnings tonight. This is an interesting chart I just found here. So the blue line is AMD, the orange line now Intel. I know it's kind of hard to see if I zoom in here maybe a little bit, but this is market cap, guys. So for the first time in a while, AMD is now above Intel.
I'm not gonna give you the same rant, but basically, just going over it, it's actually hilarious that people still compare these two companies when they haven't been about the same thing for quite some time. And if you look at what Intel is trying to do and is telling you that they're doing, then that just is going to further make a distinction between them. So the comparison of these two in the chip space doesn't make a ton of sense. The irony being, I'm actually long Intel right now. And I just sort of came in after the shorts that we were putting on the last couple of days, 37 in the afternoon, but observing that after the earnings that Intel had, look, it took a leg up after holding a higher low on that first day. Right? Like it had a double bottom at 35, and then holds 36 at the close, the first day after the earnings disaster. Then it holds 36 at the open the following day, the first of the month, and breaks out from that price. We were shorting 37, thinking it was going to come back in, but hey, 36 support has actually worked out, right? Like you're able to buy off this 36 now and catch these little dip buys. And it just sort of turned back into, okay, Intel's going to give you that stock where, as a day trader, you can scalp it a little bit when you find a support level. And for now, 36 happens to be it. AMD is a totally different story. AMD reports tonight. So AMD is a momentum play altogether. Hit enter way too fast there. It's just a pure momentum play. I was favoring NVIDIA this morning. First off that 163 level from yesterday. We were long yesterday only. Today I was short it, then reversed into the long. And then I did nothing with AMD till the 100 break. And it got the 100 into about 101. I held some and then it broke back down. At this point, it does feel like we have a shot at this 100 turning into resistance. It hasn't really been tested again, like we're at 99.80 or so, but the way the market is trended, you got to at least respect the fact that we pulled back pretty heavily, and we're a heck of a lot closer to AMD's high going into earnings than we are the market, which is red on the NASDAQ, which is red on the day, just barely, and the ES, which is down 0.2. Both pulled back a heck of a lot farther than AMD did. So as much as I want to tell you 100's turned into resistance, just remember AMD is relatively strong at this point. The Intel long is because I got it off the low of the day, and it's got an obvious out there at 36. AMD is a tricky one to be long. I think if I wanted the long, it would need to be off of the consolidation at 98.5. If the market's making lows and bouncing off of them, that could give us something to play into. But just don't forget, they do report after market, and we tend to see some fireworks on a stock like AMD, which is going to report, especially in that last 15, 20 minutes or so. But for now, it's still relatively strong. I'd hesitate to short this one at this 100 level. Maybe the high of the day is a little safer.
Yeah, I'm not shorting this at all. I did short it ahead of 100 there, and then like I said, we blasted this thing up through 100, and it was a fantastic trade. Like I said, I mean, looks like Amazon. Well, Apple's going to be my number one stock today, like I said, but coming number two here is going to be AMD, as we just blasted that through 100, and then you just play the momentum all the way to the upside. It just kept rolling all the way up. It did dip back down here to $100.30. We should still probably be long off some of these bottoms near 99, but again, on that sort of that Apple talk and what's been happening there in China, it is going to be hard, in my opinion anyways, to go long some of these tech stocks today. So I'm trying to go short. I'm trying to play the short on a lot of these names and see what happens. So right now I'm short Amazon and I'm short Apple. We've talked about those two plays. It looks like they're trying to break higher. The only interesting name that I'm looking at to go long possibly, what are we talking about here? Rev? Okay, good. So we have that next. Is this Microsoft breaking above this like 275.20 or so here? It might happen right now. As the market going for a boom here a little bit there, just took down 13,000. They're trying to get this back to didn't take it down. They tried to go back up there to 13,000. So Apple right now, we took another piece out there as it breaks through 161 on this, but we are short right now 161. So we're short right here on Apple. So we got to watch out for some of these shorts as the market seems to be sort of taking that news in stride and coming back up to the upside. They're going to get everything figured out. There's no way China's going to do anything whatsoever to Apple or do any of these things. I mean, it's too big of an economy there to squash for Apple. I mean, it's like the jobs and everything and what could possibly come from all of this. I don't think Apple can move away from China. I mean, it's too cheap over there. They sell so many phones, and the last thing you want is a boycott, obviously, in China. But they can get these plants up in India and things like that. I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world. China doesn't hold all of the marbles, but they hold a lot. So I don't know. I'm pretty nervous right now. I don't know if today's going to be the right day because we're talking about tech and everything. I don't think today's going to be the right day to put on any big positions, Brendan.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Again, if you missed it, there's a report kind of floating around suggesting one of Apple's suppliers has shut down production at 2 factories in China in addition to that CATL news we were talking about as well. Here's a note on Revlon that we were discussing this morning as well. Second day in a row, popped up yesterday late in the day after that $1.4 billion loan was secured to help them in their bankruptcy dealings. Today ends up being a bit of a chop fest back and forth. I mean, still a decent range here, 10.5 to 8.5 guys for Revlon.
Yeah, but it was a disappointment if only because like all in the afternoon yesterday, we're talking about that $10 level, right? Like that double top. It's not even just a double top from yesterday. You go back on the daily chart all the way back to June when this whole thing started after they initially declared bankruptcy. The thing went from $1. Actually, it was actually right at $1 really, up to $10. And then you had that rejection. You had the rejection of 10 in the afternoon. There was a 9 to 10 break. Should have been a short off 10 even. And then the 10 break happened. I did have a stop order out. It just wasn't aggressive enough, I got to assume, because I never got the fill when 10 broke. I then caught it on the way back in. It just instantly rejected. Tried to dip buy as well. That did not hold up. It then went all the way down and held 850. If you remember the afternoon show, I was talking about 750 as a good level potentially to hold out. So I didn't really like the dip buy down there. It was not aggressive enough. And it's retested that 10 even with another rejection. So a little bit of a, I don't want to say it was very clean. If you just took the initial break, guess what? And paid yourself out right away, gave you 50s and 60s. But on the way back in is a lot different. The momentum is different when you break out through a high of the day on a level like this, where you're running a bunch of stops, than it is if you catch it on the way back in when it's rejecting that level. Sometimes it's okay to do that. Other times you kind of run into a running freight train and you want to wait for it to settle down. 850 is where it settled. 850 is not that bad of a level. If it gets back above VWAP, maybe you can play the 950 area for the afternoon. The volume's still pretty good, tapering off because it's late in the day. But certainly, it just goes to show, like you can like the level all you want, but you got to be able to get that execution in because it's so fast. Like you're up and down through that 10 to 1070 in a matter of seconds, but it's there for you if you're able to catch it there on Revlon. And just before, we're not going to talk about it, but let's not ignore the fact that AMC is up 10%. Like all these other stocks, which like your squeezers and your runners, which have been kind of dirty and all over the place, AMC was sitting there at like 1550, broke the high of the day, broke 16, and has been absolutely clean trending to the upside. It's given a VWAP test, which is the only entry that I've been able to get. I want to actually add if it comes into VWAP. It has a chance for a 17 break, which I'm going to take if we can get that here. So there's something which, usually AMC is one of those, if it's up 10%, we're probably trading it more. But you know why I haven't traded it more? Because of AMTD, because of some of these other ones that we're looking at, maybe because of some Revlon. But it's back on the radar, strong day for this, obviously stronger than the market, and maybe it's not done. But Revlon was a frustrating one. You just had to have that initial 10 break.
All right, I don't have much else to say. I mean, same play. I mean, here's the long. We got some out. I mean, came back in. Same kind of play. Out for a little bit. Out for a little bit. There for a loss. So it's like a win up here, a loss down there. It's like a flat trade, man. I mean, it's not moving Revlon here. It's going to be a good stock, and I think there's a chance again for it to break $10 tomorrow or even now. And if it does, then maybe that's worth a shot again. But just understand that it's only going 40, 50 cents. This is not like a HKD situation or a, what was it? Pagaya, PGY, or anything like that. Like, I just feel like Revlon's been here. They're a real company. They're really no risk now of getting delisted or anything like that. They were before. Like, when we had these big runs down here to $1 and they were like, close to declaring bankruptcy, or maybe they even did. That's where you get the juice back up to the upside. They like to trade the lower floaters. Not that it's a low float, sorry. The lower price names there that they can move. And I'm just talking about retail. So up to the upside there, you get that rumor or whatever from the Indian billionaire that was thinking about taking this thing private, but that doesn't look like that's happening, but maybe it is. So I think you just kind of wait for this. You play key level breaks, and right now I don't see a whole hell of a lot happening on Revlon. So for me, we tried it at 10. It was on the sticky note, and it like I said, it's a cup of coffee here. Up, win, down, lose. So that's what that was there on Revlon. 2 trades for me, 1 a winner, 1 a loser, Brendan, and we call it a day.
I wanted to mention this China angle one more time. I saw a bunch of people kind of confused when it first was happening as to why these stocks are moving back to the downside. So here's Ford. So this was when that news came out. We got a sharp move down on pretty heavy volume. Tesla looks very similar. Although, guys, Tesla I just saw right back to day highs, essentially. Now there's reports, again, kind of floating around suggesting Apple's suppliers playing around with their production as well. So CATL is a Chinese-based battery maker, and they've now said that they are no longer going to pursue a North American plant to make batteries specifically for Ford and Tesla. But basically anything with ties to the Chinese market in Apple and chip makers, things of that nature. I mean, you got to be kind of watching here in the sense that these headlines come out of nowhere and can affect what the stock does. Although, as I said, Tesla basically back to day highs here.
And that's going to be the frustrating thing with what's probably going to be the case for the next little bit in the market is you just are going to see these types of headlines. We were sitting there like, oh man, and you're going to be like, oh, and there's this battle group moving in, and some fighters launch here or there, and you're going to get these rapid moves in the market because the algos are just going to trade them. So what ends up happening in that situation is the buyers just get off the bid of everything that they deem having risk. And then once that starts happening to Apple and Tesla and a few other names, like Microsoft, like which I was in, by the way, it went from just a little bit of selling to like big capitulation candles. And part of that is because algos, who do most of the market making, quite frankly, that's the bid and the ask, are just going to pull away from the market for the time being until it reprices. And then when that happens, that's why you get these V-shaped moves. Like it goes all the way and then comes back. But anything that didn't get back, anything that got back to the high, like I just got stopped out of a firm, too strong, right? Like here's a firm. I was short in a firm and was able to catch that because everything fell. But then it's breaking the highs. I mean, the market is pulling back, and we pull back 40 points on the ES and bounce back less than halfway. So something wants to pull, actually hold a higher low and then break back out, that's just too strong for me. So I'll get out of the way of a firm, but Microsoft comes back in a VWAP and gives a reload off 75s and is now kind of barcoding in this range. If it takes out the top, fair enough. It can make a run at the highs. I got to stop there if we get through this recent wick top that it put in. It was like a 27 wick top or 75 wick top in a 25s, 275, 25. That's where my stop will be, but I'm going to play inside the range until it breaks with Microsoft. And it's just going to be, we're listening to these headlines. That's why Brendan's got his ear to the ground, and we'll make sure that we all do. Is it the most fun way to always have to trade? Maybe not, but hey, it's going to give you moves. So we like to enjoy those. And as I said, pay yourself in either direction. The market can rebound all at once. I'm going to get on, as a matter of fact, I should already be on the offer. There we go, 29s on Intel. The more it wants to bounce off this 36, that is the one and only play I'm making in Intel, which is long in front of 36 even, play it to VWAP. And then that's more or less it. And if it wants to give me that trade, we'll go ahead and take it. Sometimes low-hanging fruit can be okay as well. But yeah, listening to these headlines, it's not always the most fun thing in the world, but it gives you some strong indications, right? Like you can see the difference between, like I showed you a firm back toward those highs, Tesla back toward highs, Microsoft showing some weakness at VWAP still, but not really bouncing as strongly as some of these other names, which gives you a concept of, okay, well, when the money comes back into the buy side, which stocks is it going back into? And then the next headline comes, and you kind of know how you want to play it.
I mean, we're going back and forth here with Softy. With Apple. We just went long here on Apple right now. We could probably hold this the rest of the day. I mean, I'm pretty convinced that could have been the bottom there. The NASDAQ wants to rally, so I figure out, like, as soon as they figure out this whole story, then I think this just goes back up to the upside. So we're going to hold out for this long on Apple, and there it goes. Yes, sir. Nice little 15 cents in the money as we go. Shout out to my friend Henry there, because Palantir was a banger today as that continues to go up to the upside as well right there. Today up to 11.20 or so, and still riding. Let's go Apple. Hopefully that can get going to the upside as we take a long through 161. So we were just short. Like, we took advantage of this short. This was the big short. We were out of that right there. We got as much out as we could. Apple is by far the #1 name net-wise here on the show for you guys today. So let's see if we can keep this going upside right now. Up to 162 and change now upside, right? And the #1 stock, I mean, I can't tell you that, Apple's the #1 stock, and without talking about Microsoft, going to be the #1 loser for me on the day and for the show, because short, blown out off the top, and then the tank happened. So this was the name that I was like upset about, because we didn't have the short to come back in there. But I was just looking at Apple, but we should have shorted this name. So that dropped. Like, some of those outs are just crazy. Like, I didn't get out. It didn't break 278, which in hindsight, we should have waited for that. Some of these aren't a lot of shares. It's more the mess that happened in here as we took out 277 right there. This was more the problem, shorting early around 12:30. Just didn't believe in this move to the upside. I think we started the day long on Microsoft. No, we didn't. We were always thinking short. So that didn't come in. But now I am looking at this level right there to hammer the long here on Softy. So let's see if this can work out. We're going to be long Apple right now, and we're going to try to go long Softy to see if we can end the day in the green. Right now we're in the red. And again, like, I don't have a problem. You know, you guys want to talk about being honest. Like, I don't have a problem telling you what days I'm red, days I'm green, right? The important thing is that you have to stick with what's been working for you. I don't have a negative month this year, and I don't think last year either. So we're going to try to stick with what we're doing here. Could be a bad day. I think it's been a little bit of a choppy day here, obviously, for a lot of these tech names. So we'll continue to ride the waves that we see, and we'll go up and down. AMTD, I see people still talking about that. Look, I don't think anything's going to happen here. I mean, that HKD has sort of seen its day. You know, if you can ride with something, I'd rather ride with AMTD, and just in case they do figure out somehow to monetize that move in HKD, but I don't, you know, I'm not sure that's going to happen. So I don't know, man. It's been just a wild ride for this name. We are long early. We haven't been buying any dips. We did get out. Like I said to you, being negative on AMTD today, I don't, I mean, unless this rips like crazy, I will be negative on it. And I just feel that this breakdown is just so dangerous that if you're stuck long on AMTD, like, that's going to be just a nightmare. Like, we're going to talk to Andrew Rader from Raider Trader there coming up very soon and see if he's all over this. But I mean, this is a big move to the downside here if it breaks. So that's why I feel like you got to respect some of these $7 levels, because this was just $1 like yesterday. So I mean, you know, to expect it to go to 14 today was a great call for anybody that did research on HKD. So your congratulations. But you know, a big move today for AMTD. I would just be very, very careful. I don't think it's not necessarily a rug pull. It's just going to follow whatever HKD does. So I would just be very, very careful about the 640 level or so. Even 7 on a breakdown, I think, is worth getting out. So that's what I'm doing right now, and we're going to go on that one. But yeah, APDN is blowing up. I don't know if that means to the good side or to the downside.
Well, there's another one here. I see this I like, and thank you guys for pointing this one out in the chat. It's just another. I hate to say like just another, but it is another no news, low float, 8 million share float, up 100% today. So like, if there's like, the catalyst would be in this particular case that you have a bunch of other stuff doing it. And this tends to happen in waves, right? Low floaters are going, you have anybody that shorts groups like this, again. And then you can start actually ramping to the upside. So that's essentially what you're seeing with this. It's got a double top into $4. And again, look, the stock, you can see the daily chart here, and then you can see the last time it tried to press, it got to 450 and turn around. So that there would be sellers at 4 o'clock makes some sense. At 4 o'clock. At $4 makes some sense to me. But yeah, there's no catalyst that I can see in particular with this. So always just be careful, like, pay yourself out. That's all we can tell you to do for these, especially if you're late in the move. Like, if you had this off $3 and you want to let some ride to 5 because you think something crazy might happen, and you've already paid yourself out at like 370 and you made 20, 25% or whatever it is, that's fantastic. That's great. Then you can let something ride. But I'm not chasing this thing up at the high when it just feels like some sympathy plays there. As I say that, I am still looking for a breakout in AMC. Now, the structure, the reason why I like AMC here, and I'm going to try and buy the dips and continue to go, is it's been making a strong bottom, some breakouts at the higher time frame. There's still room, if it does a little bit of a flag break, to get up to like $18, to get up to an $18.25 high. So as strong as it is, and it's matter it's up right now, it's just a more reasonable looking chart from a more established type of name. And then you go to the daily chart, you know, and there's room for it to go. It's making an actual bounce. It's rounding out off its 50-period moving average. There's a little bit of a difference when it comes to this play here. So, you know, I'm going to be on this side of the trade for AMC at least until it starts failing the level of 15. There'll be longs to be had, I do think, and it sets itself apart in a few ways with liquidity and other things, but maybe not as explosive. It's not going to be up 100% like the old days. But there is a more structured trade with AMC, for lack of a better word. It's weird to say that, but it's just behaving a little bit more reasonably than some of these other stocks.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling AMC just like a normal stock, to be honest with you. I mean, some of these stocks, the way they move, I mean, AMC is just one of those other names. I like the 17 break as well. I see Miss Stephanie getting ready. She's coming up for 3 p.m. We'll see Stephanie one more time. Yeah, I see her. She's getting ready. She's drinking her tea. 3 p.m. coming. So get ready for that. You'll see a little more Stephanie, 3 p.m. Okay, so right now, just to look around, Apple, we took another long here at VWAP, so we'll wait to see what's happening right there. But 161, 161.30 coming through for Apple. I don't know. You know, again, kind of like what I was saying before, until the news, like tomorrow's could be like just a crazy day. Like, I don't know if tomorrow's going to be a really bad down day or what, because I feel like some of these bulletins that have come out here about China and about whatever just kind of makes me think that it's like a lot worse than maybe this market is figuring. Like, Apple's down 0.32% here. Like, I don't know. They talked about the Tesla, Ford, all these supplying issues possibly coming through. I just feel like it should be down a lot more. So that's why I'm trying to hold this Apple long a little bit. We're out of the money a whopping 10 cents. So it's not like it's a big deal. It's just, I don't know. I feel like the market wants to go. It's bouncing off the 50 period right now. Should be able to take 13,000 again. And when it does take 13,000, then I think it's nothing but upside from there. So we'll wait to see if that comes through. I don't know, but I hope so. Other than that, man, Tilray, the marijuana stocks keep on going upside right now for Tilray as, yeah, you know, that's been a great move. Upside right now. Uh-oh. I see Raider Trader. He's getting ready to come through, so this should be a good little segment. We'll see if he's trading any of these cannabis names, but I don't normally like them. It's just today we had a great entry there at 375, breaking some of those levels on the daily. We're able to take this a little bit higher, so we'll be able to see, no pun intended, on the higher comment there for Tilray. But if this can break through $4, I like it. I like it a lot on that one. And then Palantir has been really a great name, bouncing off this VWAP. If that can come back in as well, we take that 1070 break. But that was pretty easy, man. The Palantir one was pretty easy. We were waiting for that. Where's my 20-minute chart? There it is right here. See that break right there? So we hit it yesterday, or we didn't hit it yesterday. We weren't in yesterday, but that high of 1070, when some of those growth stocks started running this morning, that was a pretty easy take, because although Palantir is a growth stock, it actually has a lot of contracts and a lot of like solid business opportunities coming through with Foundry and whatnot. So I really like Palantir. I like big data, and I like the science behind it all. And I just think that that's where we're going. I mean, think about even what's happening right now around the world, like big data. They're in with immigration, defense agencies, and everything like that. So I am talking up my book because I own Palantir. But if I talk about any stock, then I'm talking up my book, because pretty much every single stock, I own Tilray, I own Palantir, I own Microsoft, I own Amazon, I own AMD, and I own Apple. So, you know, just in case you guys wanted to know that, and I own ETFs and everything. So I'll see what happens with Palantir, but this is a name that I think can go even higher than the 6% it's at right now.
I think what's going to be telling is, and this is going to be obvious, I'm back into some Microsoft, but we just got to that 13,000. It's also, you go back 2 days ago, this was that high on, well, it's not 2 days ago because it was last week on Friday. That was that high late in the session when we just rejected it. It was a lower high in yesterday's trade. Early morning, it was resistance. So on this pullback, if we don't get through this, then I want to be reloading on Microsoft. And if I get stopped out on Microsoft at 27.25 on the 275.25, if that stops me out and we're still below 1,300, I will be looking for re-entry points. But I just want to be on the short side of something weak if we're below 13,000. And if we break out from there, I want to be adding to the longs I have. Like Uber, which is just, you know, it breaks that high of the day at 29, and there's nothing left to do except reverse because it's showing its strength. I did not reverse in a firm. I just can't bring myself to do it, quite frankly, but I did in Uber through that high of the day. We are now ready. You teed it up. We do have Raider Trader right now, locked and loaded, ready to go. Let's go to Brennan.
Yeah, it's getting loud in here. It's an exciting afternoon, but as we mentioned, happy to have Andrew Raider back with us to talk a little bit about crazy week and crazy month, essentially, for small cap stocks specifically. Once again, good to have you as always, Mr. Raider Trader. Check him out.
Awesome to be on, guys.
Yeah, check him out on social media, guys. $13 on the IPO. Fast forward a week and change, and we're at 2,500 for HKD. What do you do with this stock here, Andrew Raider?
Well, this is just obviously one of those things that where you just have to, like, as a trader, I wasn't in it, and you always wonder, oh, who is on these ones? You know, the small portions, you want to just pull up Reddit and pull up who put the massive YOLOs in at $13. But no, personally, I didn't touch it. That's not my expertise on these. If you would have asked me, is it a good buy at 700? I would have said no. And if you would have asked me if it was a good buy at 1,000, I would have said no. So it just kept going up, and it's just something that I don't feel comfortable chasing and just watching it kind of smile at. It gives me a smile during these red days sometimes. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's fun to watch as we've been talking. I mean, we're sitting here at what, 245. 314,000 shares have been traded in HKD today. So to say it's a little bit light on liquidity would be putting it very mildly. So that aside, how has your week been? How has your summer been so far? Because we've had a few of these crazy runners. I mean, nothing in comparison to this, but what have you been looking at?
It's awesome. So yeah, it's been a crazy month. As far as correlation and markets, it's been, one eventful week, especially last week with GDP and all that. Personally, my outlook on the market is very simple. Since the policy change and the actual definition of recession changing, I personally believe that this is giving the markets somewhat of a numb juice, if you want to call it that. And you're giving this opportunity where you're kind of, wooing people away from the idea that we are in a recession. Until this comes out, we're actually coming to a very key level that I want all traders to pay attention to, and that's the 418 to 420 area. You can look back at this level. This is where they announced interest rates. This is where the war news was around there. And typically you can do this with any market that has somewhat of a correlation. But whenever they announce those things, whenever the news about Ukraine, you want to draw a level on your chart. And when it comes across like that, you can see that this is where we're coming up to. And by the time, if the markets come up to these areas and they do not solve both of those problems, or at least in the stance of the Fed, if they don't continue to say, if they back off the stance that assets are elevated, then we cannot go over that level, the 418 to 420, unless if there's a resolution to those two problems, we can't go over those levels. And that's a fundamental principle that I've been trading over the last few months, especially since March 14th, when we had that big expansion and to the downside as well.
Yeah, no, key pivot, if you want, even in the overall market, the overall move to the downside. In a bear market, lower lows, lower highs from a technical standpoint is what typically classifies us in a bear market. If we get above that 420 area and start putting in, some sort of resemblance of support, do we consider this over at that point?
Right. And so to go a little further, sorry, I'll come back to that. Another reference, if you guys don't know this, is the sentiment cycle. There's a few images online you can find of this, but just look up kind of Justin Mama's sentiment cycle. And this is where I believe we personally are coming off our first kind of bounce. And then after, if we cannot resolve any of those issues, that 420 will be kind of that reject point. And if this is halfway through the recession, if this is, the bottom of the recession, we don't know, but I personally don't believe. One more thing as well. I don't think I've mentioned, or I did mention this a while ago on here, the 10-year minus the 3-month treasuries. Those have actually taken a nosedive over the last few days. And of course, if that does go under that zero line and come back above for that reversion, that's my target time of 6 to 18 months before the actual recession. So are we going to have a back-to-back, or is this one big recession? I don't know, but I'm just going to try trade the levels and the pivots here.
I love the long-term talk. I saw this morning the twos in 10 years, the inversion, now 33 basis points, which is even larger than where it was last week. I want to bring in the guys here, talk some earnings, talk some other trading opportunities, but CPI next Wednesday will be the next kind of benchmark as far as the big picture is concerned. Is it going to take one print back to the downside, or is it going to take multiple prints back to the downside to, get people feeling a little bit better about this market?
Like I said, I don't know at this point how relevant CPI is. I know it's a very important number, but to this frenzy, to this craziness, it's all dependent on how far does this go. And if it does come up to that 418, 420, which I think is the overall objective, I don't know if CPI will ultimately affect that unless if it's too bad. But optimistic or not, if it's green, then we'll target 420 and 418. If it's red, I'm probably going to be doing the same thing, but it might just be delayed a little bit.
Andrew, what's up with that old man you got hanging behind you in that picture?
Man,
First off?
yeah, that's actually the retirement board. That's what I was gonna say. Everyone who's gonna retire soon goes on that. So I'm sorry that you're on that. Neil.
Wow.
Look,
wow.
man, I love it. I call myself.
When does he know that we don't, Neil?
I'm
Hey,
not.
you put a boomer joke on the plate. I'm gonna take it, Neil. I'm gonna take it.
And I don't mind it. That's why I threw it out
like
there
it.
for you. That's why we love you, right? But at the end of the day, like, hey, man, if you retire, what are you going to do? You made it. Look, I love the point that you made there about, and I was going to call up the SPY, and then we were going to talk maybe some earnings here, but that level where every single time we've had these key moments, whether it's the rate hikes or a lot of the Ukraine issues, and we have not been able to retrace those highs. Like, resistance matters more in a bear market than some of that support. You look at something like an AMD here. I'm going to pull up the chart because we're going to talk individual stocks here. Like AMD is trying to get back to one of those moments if it can, and it's about $10 away from it right now, but again, like, it's very strong. You get these moves, 20% off the bottom, 30% off the bottom. In this particular case, it's actually over 40% off of those lows, but yet to take out a key level. It is so easy in a bear market to look at the percent gains off the lows and just think everything is rosy. So the question becomes, like, for most traders, how do they stay in that pocket of just being grounded as to where we are in the overall market, especially with these individual stocks as a day trader? You just see like your 15-minute on AMD and maybe lose sight of just how far we've come from and what we have not done yet.
Yeah, and this is a great point because a lot of people can get caught up try to chase the runners, and then they get one gap down, they sell, and they realize it pumps back up to the highs. There's a lot of, I would be lying if I said even for a lot of professionals, this last few weeks have been very, very hard. And as you know, everyone has their own time to shine, right? Retail patterns have their own time to shine. Pros will have their time to shine in these certain market conditions. But recently it's been very hard. I mean, if you're a trader and you're looking at the dollar and you're like, okay, the dollar, why is it pumping and SPY's pumping too, right? I'm a little lost. How are we knocking out these highs on the dollar, right? And this is the kind of concerns that, us as traders have been looking at. Like the other day, I remember I missed a short trade going on puts because, we trade a lot based off of, sentiment with options flow and stuff like that. And we saw a guy in there and he was down quite a bit, but he was going for a similar trade idea we wanted. And we saw the dollar knocking out these new highs. And we're like, okay, market's looking weak. We're going to take this. And then all of a sudden you get the market just rip higher. So it's very hard. These are tough conditions, but I promise you, if you guys learn how to trade now, if people are at home, if you guys learn how to trade now, this is not a quote unquote good market. It's not even close. If you guys, now this is a trading problem, not a money problem, right? Just because you think you have more money, it's a trading problem. But if you master that trading problem, if you guys get in there and realize these volatile conditions, these choppy conditions, you're going to go in times where we're a soaring economy, just getting out of inflation, although there's always going to be something bad. But you are going to get out and you're going to go, wow, I can see these things that used to happen, and I know how to tackle them now.
Yeah, I love what you just said there. And just before I throw it to Sean here a second, I just want to sort of reiterate that one of the good important points is it can always be tricky for people that start their trading journey in a market that we can define as easy or a better trading market, right? But certainly post-pandemic, when you had that crazy bull run, sometimes like that can be classified as easy. Like the bounce after the 08 crash was, for a lot of people, not that difficult to trade. A lot of traders were like, yeah, but the momentum was just so amazing. So yeah, if you can learn in a market that's difficult, that's definitely a good sign. And sometimes when you got the money that might have come a little bit easier, you need that to lengthen your career. But great points as always there. And next time you come on, I don't mind. I'll lob you a couple of other jokes. I got my grade here. You're a young man. Like it is what it is. I don't mind being self-deprecating, but I definitely enjoy the back and forth. Making great points there, especially when it comes to being grounded with your trading and not sort of getting discouraged by the type of market we're in.
Yo, what up, my man? I probably have a kid your age, so we'll move on that one right now. But we would be very proud, and we've talked about this before, Andrew, about your market knowledge, and that's the one thing that keeps us having you back, and we really appreciate you coming back. I mean, some of the things that you're talking about, I got to throw out the respect to you because I believe it's well beyond your years. So thank you for that, and keep up the good work, my man. I'm
awesome,
going to Hey, no problem. I'm going to disagree with you on how the market's trading right now. Look, I think it's been choppy. There's no doubt about that, but I think it's given it some amazing opportunities on few names, right? I think, even just Amazon, that move up after earnings and things like that. I think if you can watch the right names on the right days, then it'll be fine. But I do think it's difficult to put on swing trades and things like that because we just don't know like what's happening overnight and whatnot, right? So I feel like you can get some key trades off some key levels. So that was the one thing that I just wanted to point out to a lot of our viewers because, we were shorting Amazon today. That worked out fantastically. And then right now, I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the news even in the last couple minutes, like, China, this and that. They're going to attack. They're not. Nancy Pelosi's doing this. She's buying calls. She's selling puts. China foreign minister says, you must pay USA and all this kind of stuff. Like, this is literally just coming across the wires right now. So how does your trading maybe change day to day based on some of this tension that's happening here in China? You've given some key notes, but are you maybe lowering your share size now? Or are you waiting for those like A++ setups? Like what is Raider Trader doing right now? And are you in any current positions as we sit here and talk?
Yeah, so I am in current positions long on SPY. Once again, I'm just targeting as far as my trading ideal. When you get up to the top of these ranges, especially after a big move that we just had coming into GDP and after, it's very easy to trade these ranges if you're knocking out these levels. For example, 413, a lot of us were shorting off of that area. And coincidentally, who knows if it's a coincidence or not, right? You get the China news right off that 413 level, which was the top of the range. So if you are taking out those ranges, you gap down under into that, push down into that 407 this morning. That was a key expansion level where you long off of as well. And so that's where we took out that level as well. But typically I do go smaller position size and ranges just because, like you said, with options, I kind of do have to hold a little longer if I'm trading, 2-day out expirations or, same days. Sometimes I can hold fewer times as far as the amount of time. But I do trade less contracts overall when I am in these ranges, just because you can have a big move up and then the next day have a just gap down right to the middle, and it does kill your contract. So definitely going lighter size onto these. Once we get near towards a bigger expansion, once you can see some key piece of news or something come out and we hit another support level and we show signs of weakness to the downside or selling pressure going away, we can go long and hope for that bigger expansion.
So when you just said there that no coincidence that the Chinese news is coming out as we're at the tops, you're not saying this market's rigged, are you?
No. Let's just say that, I believe in coincidences, but sometimes it happens a little too much for me to sit here and say it's all just luck.
Yeah. Great minds think alike. Well, you can find, do you want to plug in your socials here, Andrew, before we go?
Yeah, you guys can find me TikTok, Instagram, just at Raider Trader, RADER. That is my last name. It's not some Xbox username. But you can also find me in my Discord. If you join the link in bio, come chat, hang out with some guys, and talk some markets just like these guys do. It's a great place to learn. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew Raider from Raider Trader. Thank you for all of your insight. It's definitely great, and we look to continue the relationship. Thanks, Andrew.
Awesome.
Ciao. There it is. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Raider Trader. I mean, that kid is on one, needless to say, right? So great job there. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for taking that over there, Neil, because I was in some trades, boy. There's AMD locked and loaded again. We were short AMD on the break, back down through 99.50. It ripped up against us. So that, you might have seen, I don't know if you guys saw me, but I was in and out of Apple, in and out of Microsoft there. They just flashed, which is fine. Both lost a little bit of money, but now we're starting to bank a little bit here on this AMD trade as this comes back in, now 30 cents in the money. Amazon now $2 in the money and continuing, well, still the same thing. It's not really moving, but we're still short on Amazon right there. But wow, smart dude there. I think we got to listen a lot to what he's saying, but I mean, no smarter or anything than any of you guys. I mean, just do your research, put in the time and the work, and it will get paid off. So thank you to Raider Trader for that one. Really like that kid.
Yeah, and stay in your pocket. That's another thing he tells me. He trades. Look, he doesn't necessarily have to jump into whatever small cap is moving. That's not his game. You can watch it for some fun, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. If you don't have any trades on, you just want to watch HKD and AMTD go nuts. There is some entertainment value in it. I'm not gonna lie. I've done it and stared at the tape myself. myself, but just stay in your pocket. I said it could happen that we might not break 13,000, then got wicked out. I had just taken profit again on Softy, 274.50s, and then it blew out the stop, reestablished lower. 13,000 has still been rejected, so I want to jump back into the short. I talked about Uber there, getting through the top. We went to Andrew, so I didn't want to like belabor, sort of like ignore Uber, but I did want to make sure we had a chance to get him and get his thoughts. Once it got through that 29, the breakout was through the recent high. That was through 29.10. This is when it stopped the first time. I shorted it again, reversed. Sometimes you have to give up the ghost. It got up to 29.40. On the pullback, I just reloaded it off of 29 even. I haven't taken anything out yet. So Uber is showing its relative strength. There's nothing about it that you can ignore at this point. Like I was short pretty much all day long. I've done nothing still with AMC. It's actually peeling away from 17. So, I still like the breakout. I think it can happen, but I wanted to do something other than diddle in the middle. It gets a little bit frustrating when you're trying to catch a bid on VWAP to go long, and you're trying to catch a break through the high to go long, and the stock just decides to sit in the middle once you've made that decision. It was at the high when I put in the stop, and then I was like, yeah, I'll take the dip buy in case it rejects, and it doesn't want to seem to do either one of those two things. If you're checking back in, HKD, yes, it did make a flush down breaking support at 1700, although the spread is $300 for 100 lots. So if you're watching AMTD and wondering why it kind of slowed down a bit, it's because you broke this 1800 support, I should say. 1700 as well. Both got taken down on HKD. That's why there was a little bit of a fall. Tesla, which had been weak when the news dropped, or at least that news came through at about, I think it was like 120 or so. Popped off VWAP, looked like it was getting close to retracing those highs, does not quite get there for Tesla, so right back into VWAP. If I get something short, I would like it to be Microsoft back in front of this 275, 25 area. So it's back at that 25 barcoding. Where am I sitting here? Yeah, that's not aggressive enough. I can get 275 and jump into it. Looks like we're headed to the desk. I think Stephanie's ready.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody. I'm back again to talk about ES futures and run through a quick overview. So let's just pull up my chart on the screen and talk about the market moves. So here we have market open. Prior to market open, we were definitely maintaining bearish momentum. From here, key level that I was looking at, which was support, 40.80, immediate bounce to the upside. Next level of interest that I was looking at here was 41.10. Now the question with this level was, were we going to maintain strength? Were we going to come up into overhead supply that I was mentioning yesterday? What was the deal here? Clearly it was obvious. We bounced during this bullish trend, made a higher high back into this overhead supply. Big level, another key level to the upside was 41.50. 41.50 was a target that I was looking at for a potential short here. However, we just immediately came back to the downside, completely reversed trend. Once again, at this time of day, we are in the middle of the muck. Could we turn green? Could we push lower? And that's my updates for the days, guys. So heading back to you.
The only problem is that Rune's going to be out of a job real quick. Okay,
She's
so
already got new terminology, the muck. That's what we got to call it,
Yeah,
the muck. I like that, the muck.
Yeah, thank me later, boys. But there it is, Stephanie. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming through. And yeah, more to come with Stephanie. So we'll be going through some future stuff. And like I said, that should be a lot of fun. So we're going to be doing that more and more as we go. But the market's trying to bounce back up as we muck around in the middle here. I like that. I like the new terminology. That's a good one. 99.60, we're starting to get right back up. We did take some out there. 99, 99.30, 99.50 again as we go. So AMD, I don't know, remember I said this is not the environment to put on a serious amount of shares. I mean, and here I am trading like I do have some ideas of what's going down, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking too much back and forth with a lot of these names, man. So I don't know. I'll take another piece out there. I'll just punch some out at 52. I mean, we're short at 62. I really think this market's going to tank, man, but I mean, I don't want to be wrong too much here, so I don't want to start the month off with such a bad day. I mean, I think we're doing fine right now. Just if I hold this all the way back to 100, which I could do. I mean, that actually is where my out is. It's just, I don't want to hold the whole bag all the way back up there. So let's see if AMD can take down 100. We'll average into it if it does come back up, but I think we got to let this one settle down a little bit here. let's ask ourselves this question, okay? Self, right? Self. Do you want to be long going into tomorrow, or would you prefer to be short? So, you know, I'm asking myself that, but in real, you know, in all honesty, I mean, I literally have the answer right now. Okay, so.
He's gonna say no.
Listen, should we be short heading into tomorrow with all these global tensions? I mean, I think the answer is going to be yes.
Should we be short? Oh, short, yes.
Should we be short?
Okay, yes.
Oh, come on.
What did it say?
Cannot predict. Like, this is like...
You know what's weird? Like, an 8-ball shouldn't have that. Like, it should only have answers.
This is like telling me right now, like, Raider Trader cannot predict. We cannot predict. We're getting bounced around here. So I feel... Yeah, I don't know.
Look, I'm going to bring this one up because I know people are talking about APDN. I don't know that how many stocks I've seen that have 83 million in volume that have halted as many times as APDN today. It just halted 3. In the time that we had Raider Trader and Stephanie on, I think you've had like 5 halts in this stock, like in the last 30 minutes or so. I don't know if that even makes any sense. But for all the volume, this has just become almost impossible for anybody to trade. It doesn't stay open for more than a couple of minutes. On a 3-minute chart, like you get one wick and then it halts and then you open up again. So make sure you got that halt page open. These have been all volatility halts, but APDN is just littered all over this damn thing. All afternoon, it's been MUHA or MHUA, whatever the heck that is. LTRPB, Liberty TripAdvisor, that's that nonsense one from yesterday. And then APDN is half the halts on the market here today. It's just this one stock. Pay yourself on this, but it's been strong momentum. Like the trend has been good. It's just that participating in it requires holding through halts, which is a little bit more of it's a different trade. It's not the same liquidity. You're not working in out of it like you would a normal $3 or $4 stock. You're definitely having to hold some pressure against you. I did take some Uber here when it got back to 29.20, and then I'll play some out. If it gets back to that 30 high, I'll definitely take some more out there. But I did want to come back over to NVIDIA if I could. We talked about AMD having the earnings aftermarket, but NVIDIA, in its own right, up 1% on the day. I got away from the long way too early. Like yesterday, let's be real. Yesterday I had more confidence in the long at 183. And today I was way too bearish on the market at the open to have stuck with the long on NVIDIA. And I had a conversation with someone who was asking me about like market bias and like, does it get you into trouble and what do you do about it? Yes, it can get you into trouble. It can get you away from like good setups for long trades. If you like the bias to the short side and you just like too many things for a bit of a fade. But NVIDIA has been super strong on the higher time frame. It's breaking out, hasn't gotten as close to maybe this resistance at 200 as you would like. It hasn't even touched that 190 just yet. But the breakout from this 182, 183 is still ongoing. And as good as it was yesterday, I mean, really, is it any different of a trade? And if you get rid of the executions, you'd see how clean this is. Maybe not as clear in a couple of moves where it never really tested you, it never dipped back, but it's the same move. It's that 183 breaking out, it's getting up to that 87 to 90 area, then pulling back in. In this case, it's just holding a higher low. That's the other sign. After pulling back yesterday, it got all the way back into 182.5. Today in the afternoon, we got to like 184. So if anything, I think it's getting stronger. All that being said, if somehow AMD were to disappoint, not that I'm saying they will, I don't think they will, but if they were to disappoint, you can maybe take some of that bullishness out of NVIDIA. But very, very strong chart off this 183, and certainly a level that I cannot get away from as quickly as I did at the open today. If I get that chance tomorrow, we'll rectify that mistake by being more aggressive with those longs there on AMD. I always want to check back in with Tesla for you guys. Still kind of barcoding off VWAP. Not nearly, I mean, it showed some strength after bouncing when the market caught that bid, but it feels like some of that is going away as we speak. And then there was, I think it was Roblox some people were talking about there, guys, but AMC, someone just said is testing the high of the day. I mean, my stop is at 17, so like I don't want to, like I'm not groaning, you're right, it is at like 95. But I just sort of feel like I've been waiting for this to happen, and like we've gotten to 95, 96, 97, like 3 times here without actually breaking through at 17. So when it breaks 17, you'll see me add to the position. I would much rather dip by, but hey, sometimes you just got to take out the top. That'd be nice if it did.
Why do we only have 700 likes? Like, how many likes do we even have here? Maybe we're not doing a good enough job for you guys. 700 likes. Okay. Over 5,200 people watching, so the more likes we get, and maybe we'll do something else for you guys again. So hit the like button, and we'll see what's going to happen in about 10 minutes or less than that. All right, let's go. Hit the like button, get that over to 1,000, and we'll get the chat going again. AMC, let's go. Yeah. We only have that many likes because the Stephanie segment was too short. Well, hey, get those likes up, and we'll give her some longer segments. You know what I'm saying? There we go. But no, so we're just adding to our team, right? We've talked about that over and over again, so let's move off of that for now. All right. I don't know. I know I'm just still kind of sitting in these trades because that's because I have like real positions on right now. So like AMD right here is something that I'm trying to get going. So hopefully we can get this to the downside, and here it's starting to fall back in right now. I've picked my poison right now. AMD's coming out with earnings as far as I know. Did we confirm that?
No, AMD's tonight, man.
Right, so that is 100%.
I double checked it.
You did. Okay,
AMD's
then that's
tonight,
fine.
man.
Okay,
We're
good. If you double checked that, that's good enough for me. Okay, so I mean that's part of it was just the fact that we barcoded here around $100, right? So to me, this is the short we wanted. I actually liked it so much I took it when it first broke 99.50, and then we averaged back in when it ripped up there on some of this headline news, like I keep telling you. I think it's just going to go back and forth, man. I mean, this reminds me of like, you know, Russia, Ukraine, where they were lining up the troops at the border. Russia was of Ukraine, and then they just sort of started to go in there, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to test what Biden was saying, that they'd have Taiwan's back or not. So thank you so much, Rusty, man. It means a lot to us to get all this, man. Rusty right there with the $20, the #1 show. Look, I mentioned likes, and you guys go from 700 likes to 1.2K. So I'm going to go, yeah, buddy, hit the siren alert for that one. Thank you so much for that. So ask and you shall receive. So get ready right now. All right, 99.60s here. That's what we're short right now on AMD. Trying to come in. Did Activision Blizzard also report as well? They're not really moving too much today, if at all. I used to be a shareholder of that company. Oh, by the way, Uber, did you try that 29 short? Like that just ripped.
I reversed long.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah, because I was like, what?
It's just ripping now, man. Like 29. Yeah. Like it was a good level,
AMTD,
but you had to short it pretty much exactly at that level to get it. Activision, you're right, it is absolutely flat, although it has been trending down pretty much all day long. AMTD just now it's breaking down through the low. The low of the day on AMTD is $7.23 since the open.
Yeah.
So if it gets through that, like that's. Things could get interesting. But you got to be very careful with this stock. Like if something really crazy happens on HKD, then AMTD was $1 when this all started.
Yeah,
$1. Like that's
I just took a third out of what I had. I mean, I think Neil and I did a really good job of explaining that. Like, you know, before when he came back from the trade of the day there, I was like, if this drops below the $6, like, you know, it could just go right back to where it was. We can check out. I mean, I know on the midday show they must have said HKD and they must have showed it about 1,400 times. I haven't traded it yet today. You know, so just in case you guys, I know a lot of you trade and it's no problem, but this is really where the 100 lots are at right now. Like 1,600, is it like almost like it's halted? It's not even moving. Like all of these shares is one share here. Like one share, 10 shares. So to find real liquidity right now, you're at least a $230 spread. So, I mean, if you are going to play, and by the way, I must have a stuck, oh yeah, that's right, there you go. Just refresh them. You're gonna get stuck books all over the place. As everyone's just trading this with as many light shares as they possibly can. I mean, it's not, for us as day traders.
Why is my quote different from?
Does yours look different than mine?
Oh, mine was stuck too.
Yeah, yours was frozen, yeah. So I'm just trying to get at, like, for a lot of traders here, if you're going to trade 1 or 2, 3 shares, like, that's not, like, we're going to need to make, like, the whole spread, and if not more, like, even if you make the spread on one share, like, even if you go from there to there, that's, what, 10, 16, $20, $30, something like that. So you got to be very, very careful. It's not doing a lot of volume. Don't get sidetracked with that one, which is why I think there's so much more happening over here on AMTD right now, right? If you're going to trade one name, I think this would be the name, but I personally am staying away from it, as we've discussed over and over and over again. So let's stay away. I'm getting out if it breaks this bottom of 7. So we've talked about that. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I will be negative on AMTD today. I'm going to have 3 negative names. I'm going to be negative on AMTD. I'm going to be negative on Microsoft, and we have that Revlon trade. So I think we'll go about 5 wins, 3 losses today, but we're going to wait to see. You missed Justin the Viking. Yeah, so do I, man.
He's not a Viking anymore.
That's the problem. We can't,
what are you gonna do?
But whatever, man. I mean, he has the flow, you know. I won't talk about your top, but I can never grow hair like that. And I'm just hating on Justin because
I damn sure couldn't do it either.
He should never, ever have shaved that because of just the flow. But he can grow it back. Like, that's the difference, right? If I ever had hair like that, it would be gone and then forever gone. So just a shout out to the Viking man himself, Justin, who will be coming back on the show basically ASAP.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. We got to get him. I'm going to hit this key because someone was just like, yo, AMC is about to break 17. So I'm going to hit that, and then maybe it'll cause AMC to go through 17. It's not. But I want to tell you, if the market is going to do what it's doing right now, which is reject 13,000 on the NASDAQ and then go nowhere on the pullback, you maybe have to play inside the range. So inside the range it is. I'm just playing inside this Microsoft consolidation, which is 274.50 to 275.25. So short in front of it, then take out that bottom. If you have something in a range, play it. If you have something breaking out, then you can hold on. Like the way I see it, if we take out the top, then Uber should continue. And so if we go through 13,000, the ES gets off the bottom, Uber should be able to try to continue up to like 29.50, maybe 30 bucks. AMC doesn't care about the market, but like I said, like it's getting closer to a break because rejecting at 97, the pullback only went to 90. So it's getting really tight at the top. I just hit that like maybe somehow that'll cause, it's not going to cause it to go through. It doesn't matter whatsoever. And then I have to acknowledge something. I gave you one half of the equation on Intel, which is to say I've been going long in front of 36. Well, the other side of that equation is if the 36 level goes on Intel, and looks a little something like this on my 15-minute, well, then it's a bit of a short too. Like I'll try to get 98s or 99s if it does break that 36. First things first, I just keep going long off that bottom. It hasn't given me a reload just yet, but I should have said, like that levels like this are good in either direction. So we break this 36 downside. That's a reversal for me. Worth noting, it didn't have much of a move off the bottom when the market just reversed off the low. It got to VWAP and that's it.
Oh boy. I don't know. I'm trying not to be like super frugal with my trading here, but like AMD it's been a good trade. It's just like I just got a whole bunch out right here just a couple minutes ago at 99.15, and then it just rips right back up as the NASDAQ now is above the 50-period moving average. As promised, let's go back over to the big desk.
Hey guys, guess what? I'm back once again, and I really want to talk about one of the market moves once again in ES futures. So here, it's no doubt that we were trending bullish, as I did mention earlier, and we had this straight reversal right to being bearish. Now, one of the things to note is usually before a trend reversal, you're going to have some sort of consolidation. You're going to notice that price is slowing down. You're going to see these signs to tell you, hey, maybe we're not going to be continuing trend. So one of the most important things that I want to talk to you guys about is key levels. Not only key levels, but marking them off on your chart. So as you can see here, this black line, I have 41.30.75 marked off on my chart. And as you can see with this candle right here, this big bearish red candle, we immediately crashed through it. There was no pause in price action. There was no hesitation of the market move. We just instantly reversed. And that is why I want you guys to focus on marking off key levels. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Can't say that enough. You mark off your key levels, set alerts. That whatever gets you from. That's not just about missing trades, because I was about to say you don't want to miss out on trades, but marking off key levels also allows you, when the market gets to that key level, to maybe take some profit. Like if you're long and it's key resistance on the NASDAQ or the ES and you got it marked, then you might take some profit in front of it. I always talk about it usually in the context of, oh, if I don't set an alert on something, I missed a trade. But that's only half the equation. Everything is about key levels are too important. They're decision points, right? Like you make a decision at a key price level. When the market shows you that there is one, your decision is, do I want to trade here? Do I want to take something off of a trade? But if you don't identify that level, it doesn't matter. So as always, fantastic, Stephanie. And speaking of key levels, all I got is, as I sit here and wait for AMC to just break 17 already, it's Microsoft top, back in off that 275 area, and then it's right back toward the low. Like it just does this over and over again. It doesn't want to break out. There'll be a more exciting trade if Microsoft breaks this low and continues, or takes out one of these highs and continues. But until it does, like you're just waiting around. And AMC it's gone 95 as a top. It then went 97 as a top. It's back to 92. 98 is the new high. It just doesn't want to go yet. But the good news is there's still 40 minutes left in the market. So there is, like, we're not that far in a power hour as if this can't happen. Like, this could still go. If you're watching that APDN, the Halt Central stock this day, like, imagine there's a stock that's Halt Central and it's not like the other two that we keep mentioning. It's halted to the downside. And what's crazy about this is during the time that this is trended up, not just moved up, it has trended up since $1 today, and it probably has 15 down halts. I don't know that I've ever seen something which has like a pretty clean traditional trend to the upside. Like when it breaks out a top and then makes a fresh high, it retraces and holds a previous breakout. But on the way to doing that, it halted down 1, 2, 3 times it halted down before finding support. It breaks out the high again, retraces, and then holds that breakout at $3. But it halted down twice before finding that bottom. So the thing about buying the dip on this stock today is you've had to buy it in front of support after it's halted multiple times on the way down. That's not an easy thing psychologically to do. You watch a stock halt down twice, that's up this much, and buying the dip isn't always your first thought, but that's the way that this is played. It's really just been about the key levels, to steal a term from Stephanie there. This $3 level, it's a key level. If you ignore the fact that it had just come in and halted twice and bought the previous breakout on the dip, you're rewarded with $1 to the upside there. So, it's all about the key levels. It's all about following the trend. The halts don't always make it easy, unfortunately. That's just the truth.
All right, we're just banking in on some AMD, but we do have a new trade alert here. Oh, someone was asking what I was eating, and yeah, I'm not eating anything. Yeah, it's just a Halls. So it's, I don't know if you can see this. Thanks to Randy. He brought me some Halls here. This is a lemon-flavored Halls right there, so that's pretty good. So now I'm back, but thanks, Randy, for that one, as well as, yeah, it was a busy weekend, man. So proud of the girls' Little League team. It's been amazing. My daughter apparently hasn't stopped talking about it, and even my son today. So a really proud moment for all of us. So shout out to all the female athletes out there. Great opportunities around nowadays, and that's the good thing about it. I mean, hockey in Canada, female hockey in Canada has been really taking off as well. So that's fantastic. Okay.
Best in the world.
Yeah. Oh, what about soccer? We won the Olympics, didn't we? So that was fantastic.
Who did we beat? Who?
I don't know. I can't remember who we beat.
Who used to be the best team in women's?
It starts with a U and ends with an A, and I can't remember the first middle one there.
Oh, that's right.
United
Sorry,
Arab
guys.
Emirates. No, it wasn't that. I think it might have been an S in there somewhere. But no, just shout out to everybody who's watching. And of course, we know most of our audience is American, so I better be careful on what I say as I hit.
Actually, I want to say this for American
Where's
athletes.
the Canadian?
If you're talking about women's sports,
My stream deck's not even working.
I told this to Fahad. Easily, in my humble opinion, as a big fan of sports, the #1 athletic performance in 2022 that probably none of you watched was an American hurdler called Sydney McLaughlin. Like, she ran the 400-meter hurdles in a time that just crossed 10 barriers in a lap around the track, and the time that she ran would have made the finals in the flat women's 400. It's ridiculous. She broke her own record by like more than Usain Bolt. In track and field terms, anyone that knows track, what she did makes Usain Bolt look like a scrub, like Fahad possibly on the track. It was the most unreal thing I've ever seen. The girl should be the top women's athlete. If she doesn't win every single award, then something is broken in this world. And then she's American. She's great. Just check her out. The race was absolutely ridiculous. And we do try to cover everything that's going on in the market, but I have not said anything about Getty, and thank you guys for bringing this one to our attention. Another recent listing which has been going nuts, but the volume on this is starting to taper off here, and it just did a bit of a wick-off failure top at this 35. So 35 was the high, I want to say Friday. That was Friday, right? Yeah, 35 was the high on Friday, and now it's your lower high here today. So it's got the feeling like, with the volume tapering here, that maybe it wants to try to retrace those lows before going again. But this is your classic, it fails the break, doesn't capitulate, holds a lower high, and then don't sleep on it if it ends up, whoops, I went too far there. This was a 15-minute. Don't sleep on it if it goes sideways for a couple of days. Because if that sideways is holding 20 or holding 25, then it can always get going again. But right now, the volume's tapering off. 35 is your lower high from Friday. If it doesn't manage to close above that, you could just be headed to a lower level consolidation. Getty is Getty Images for, I don't know if you're spending time on the internet, maybe you're familiar with Getty Images, but they just came to market, I want to say, early last week, did the typical thing, lowish float, does nothing for a couple of days. get some random interest, and then next thing you know, it's gone up 5x. At one point today. So there's lots of these out there. The market is coming back to the downside. That means two things. One, Microsoft is finally broken down. So it's about $1 and change in the money here. But it also means that AMC 17 break will have to wait possibly for another day.
Yeah, we put on the app the Microsoft short rate now, breaking through these levels here of 274.50. We're short at 35 right now on Softy. So I just wanted to go short once we broke this little level right there. So we did that. So now we'll go short on Softy and see if we can cash in on that one. I think we can. So we'll try to take this. I mean, I'm trying to use some of the lines here, but realistically, 275 is an area of stop out for me. So we'll wait to see what's going on right there. So we'll wait on that one. Oh, the software crashed. Oh, okay. So we said there should be able to work now. There it is. Yeah, it is working now. So there we go. As we talked a little bit of Canadian sports there as well. So, all right. All right, see now Zelensky there, something about Ukraine overcoming Russians' artillery, manpower, I don't know. So this is what I'm talking about when I look at the market right now, and I just feel like the shorts that I have on, I'm short AMD right now, 50 cents in the money. We got a great cash out right there. Look at this, right at this 2 o'clock bottom of 98.85, like we cashed that out. That was $1 win. Right there on AMD, just casually taken. So, I mean, short, we got out a lot. I mean, this is how you know, and this is the problem with me, honestly. Like, if I just went short there and held this for that bottom, which I thought was coming, I mean, it's got to have more conviction to your trades. And I think that's the part of the hard part right now when you're looking at the market is to have that strong conviction because it's just so choppy. Now, we've already seen 13,000 today, and this is the market up and down. I mean, it had great move there. Like, this was great into here. But right now, it's just kind of back and forth. We kind of tested that bottom there, I figured, right there. Now, can we test back up here near 13,000? It feels like it wants to, but again, I just look at the headlines, and I really just don't see anything positive coming through. So to me, I think that the market does trade on right now on macro events. I mean, we already know the price, the earnings, all that kind of stuff for all these stocks that I'm in, except for AMD, which we do know reports aftermarket.
This is weird.
But I don't think that aftermarket trading for me is going to matter because we're going to wait for AMD to come out. We won't be in the position. So we'll just trade the market now. What's weird about it?
No, just I'm watching, like, look at the chart of HKD, which just halted. I checked the halt code. The halt code says volatility halt, but like I don't see it moving in the last few minutes. But AMTD just tanked through the low of the day. But
am I out of that yet?
The halt code says volatility halt, but this is the chart. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Like that doesn't. Brennan?
I see the same thing, and I will continue to look on that. But another one that's moving around here, guys, a Brazilian stock, Pet Center, which is this PETZ, going crazy here on heavy volume as well. Not seeing any headlines on it, but 40% for pets.
Lucas
said
said
something. How
something.
did you zoom in like that? So it changed. I've asked Brendan about that. I like when he zooms in there.
I want to do that.
Changes the color like that.
I'm sure you guys love that. The whole zoom in. That's a good look.
Yeah,
I feel like it might be worth it to pay for pets for the locates because if it gets any, this is a daily chart on pets. Look at 350 every time it's gotten there. $2 breaks into 350, rejection. So maybe this time it doesn't even get through 3. But clearly the bag holders know exactly what price they want to sell this thing. But the other side of that coin is I guess you just buy it at $2 every single time, right? Like play pets from 2 to 3 and you can't go wrong. But for now, we have to look at the trade at the top side. Usually we have to pay for locates here. So I'm going to go ahead and check that. But good look. Actually, so that halt, HKD is indicating an open of like 10% to the downside. It's indicating 15.28. And it just halted at 1681. But Pez, just watch out for that overhead resistance. It's got wick tops almost every time through that 350. I'm going to go check on locates because this could be worth it if it does get to that price.
Pet food brand in China. It's just another Chinese name, right? I mean, so I think if you're going to look at something like this, you got to look to see like, are there other low float China names here? Because I've told you guys this from the beginning. What is rallying all these names is corruption in China. Like these guys are coming in and trading these shares and just running these stocks up, I feel like, to either blow out some people that are short or hit American economy. I don't know what's going on, but like some of these names that just get blown out like this, a lot of them do have, seems to be Chinese ties to it. So maybe there's something there, and that only benefits us because if you can sort of put the nail on it and figure out, what the next runner is. I mean, because HKD is finished with now, so you got to sort of say, okay, what I don't know if it's finished or not, but from $5 to what is the high today, 3,200 or something? So I mean, that's a great little run up, and someone's making a lot of money on that. So let's just put on our, where's Pratt? Where's his tinfoil hat? That was funny when Valeria made him a tinfoil hat. So I don't know where that is right now, but there could be something up with that. You guys tell me if I'm wrong on that. Probably am. But okay, just looking. What I was going to do was an update on AMD quickly, as my Microsoft trade is going to be coming out at 275. Like I said, it's just back and forth. Like, I don't know what. Like, I shouldn't be using the share sizes that we're doing, because it's just, this is not really doing that much here. So yeah, look, there's a super chat for Neil there. Thank you for mentioning AMTD yesterday. But I mean, this is the whole point. Like, we don't hold anything overnight. We're just bringing you guys the news. It's just like that APDN. I mean, this could be up to, I don't know, $30 tomorrow. Who knows, right? As
it's
it goes.
possible.
But yeah, you guys are the ones. So thank you for the super chat for sure. But you're the one taking the trade. So give a big pat on your back for that. Because
I love the last name spelled the same way I spell it too. Because my mom decided she'd be difficult and be like NEAL, just so that everybody can always get it wrong. The worst part is like when it's in your email and it's in your email signature, and then it's like someone just responded and saw EAL and they put EI. But thank you so much. It's just about seeing something. Like, I know, look, I had a conversation with a trader while I was on the train, and we were going back and forth, and we were talking about the risk rewards, the long and AMTD, and if it ever caught up. And you know what? He took a trade. I did not. And again, that would have to have been like in a personal account, because we're not really holding swing trades overnight. But yeah, the risk was to $1 for this to eventually happen. But I hope you paid yourself there. I did get into pets. It did this wick top. Here you go. You guys can see it. Charts up. It did this wick top through 3. Didn't quite get to 350, but I'm a sucker for a wick high. I just got the 97s. Play it to the high of the day right now. And I don't mind trading it twice. Like, if we get a shot, if it breaks this high and then we get a shot at like that 350 area, I'll probably go into that one as well if it goes to that price. So it gets to 1-to-1 down in the 80s. I'll take some out. HKD just opened back up, if you're following along, and went higher. So much ado about nothing. It's back to 2,000 on the offer. Oh, strange stock that is. But yeah, maybe it's done at some point. It doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. But there is an opportunity cost. We talked about this. Right? Like, this morning, the pre-market was really clean on HKD. And then after that, it was not clean. But AMC, which usually we'd be trading, look how clean that is. All day long. It's easy longs at the open for breaks, for dips, for consolidations off VWAP. It's just a gorgeous trend. And it's now at 98.5 is the new high of the day on AMC. Eventually 99 will be the half, then maybe it'll pull back, and then we'll finally get a break of $17, which feels like it is taking forever.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I'm not even looking at
How
that.
does it not go?
I'm not looking at AMC again. Well, I haven't looked at it. Yeah, I like the 17 level. I mean, I think a break of that makes a lot of sense. We talked about this earlier on today here, and that was PayPal, and I said that this was a good chance for a runner off that Pinterest news, and you could see here again, like, just part of the reason here why. I mean, I'm not upset. Obviously, I'm upset because, you know, we kept shorting Microsoft today, which this doesn't seem to be the right way. As I'm down like too much money on my. Actually, you know what? My only serious red day in what month is it? In July was that same day that Microsoft just kept tanking. So today, and I kept longing it, and today it's going the other way around. So I got to sort of switch off of Mr. Softy here before. It was one of my top stocks of all time. Probably still is, but definitely not in the last couple months there. But we're going to go short back again on Microsoft right now, as it did take out that 275 level. We averaged in, got punched out. So now we're going to try this against here. I'm going with, and I'm taking sort of what Raider Trader was talking about a little bit too, is that, you know, pick your spots, understand that it's going to be a little bit choppy here, and you know, take some shots at some points. I just think that, you know, share size is going to continue to always be a key part of trading. So I think as long as you manage your risks, and everything will be fine. Like, I think everything's fine right here for me. We have $3 now, $2.25 in the money on our Amazon trade, and this one, and again, just because it's bouncing around the bottom, I am going to take a piece out right now around, I mean, just right here, in case this market does want to rally into the close. It's already 332. That's pretty wild. We'll take a bid. There we go. It just runs us right through at 57. So we'll take that out for a $2 and 26-cent winner right there. So we'll go, yeah, although it was to the short side. These apes normally like to go long right there, but there it comes coming through. And then finally, here we go back down in. Here comes Microsoft trying to make that move back down now. So again, patience sometimes is key. It does hurt me here because this trade did go into the money a little bit for us, and then it winds up eventually stopping out when I should have just had a wider stop. Like, you know, sometimes you put on trades a little too early, prematurely, yada, yada, yada. So as a trader life right now, I don't have, trust me, like the energy that I have is still full. It's my voice. That's the problem. Some people saying nice tan. Yeah, you should see the tan difference between
You get a lot of sun.
my watch and my,
say.
you can see like already how it's, I'm not trying to show the watch. I'm trying to show the tan line there. Anyways, doesn't matter. What up, Brendan?
ATHA, I saw a couple people mention there was some Alzheimer's data being presented from this company, so it popped up on a volume spike there, but nothing to see. More exciting, however, looks like SBF guys just tweeting he's going to be on Fox Business coming up here, so heads up on Robinhood.
SPF.
It comes on our show and the market will be going to the upside. I'll tell you that much for darn sure.
I mean, get SPF. Where's
Let's go.
Maggie?
Let's get him. We love him. We love him. Great guy. I just want to point out, you said PayPal, right? That's another one reporting today. So we got PayPal after the bell, another big earnings play. We kept talking about how big earnings was last week, and it's not to say that there aren't still big names to come, like AMD. AMD is a pretty legitimate company. PayPal is a pretty interesting one they're going to be watching here. And the whole Elliott thing certainly going to be true. By the way, that Pets, there's your wick top. Here's a pullback. It just got down to 280. I'm going to take some more out in front of VWAP. It's still an upward trending name. This is about just following the pattern. When the catalyst generally for these is you're getting the low floaters and the squeezers starting to go and you have levels to play off of, just jump into it when it gives you the setup. That is a wick top right through $3 when everyone can see the overhead resistance and how this has failed at 330 pretty much every single time. So you just sort of play the pattern, work with it. I don't know why I'm sitting at 75. 75 is too obvious a level. Get out at like 76 or 77 for a bid, and then try and rinse and repeat those instead of like checks notes, AMC not giving me the break, but here's something that's actually moving that gives you a trade. It's a retracement because I don't have the long off 220. I'm not sitting here guessing that that's going to happen. But there is one name that I know I forgot about here for most of the day today, and it's going to be, it was that TBLT, like that tough build, which is another one of these sort of low, well, it's a high short float name, and it had a huge volume spike and capitulation in the midday. And I'm not saying it's moving right now. Okay, fine, it's not doing a heck of a lot. But anytime you make a wipeout bottom like that and the stock recovers to find support, you sometimes want to put it back on your radar. Like this flushed, did not halt to the downside, already down 10%, but it's also in the midst of breakout, retrace, holds a higher level, fails again at 10, but is trying to put in a lower high. So the overall trend is still to the upside. And after that little wipeout bottom, if this can get back above $8, I don't want to forget it. We had some good longs in this a couple of days ago, and then of course last week was even better. But this gets back above $8. Maybe it wants to take another run at $10. Sometimes those wipeout bottoms have to happen before the stock makes another move.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we only have now 14 minutes until the imbalances. We just got an update from Brendan here, 375 milli to sell, so that's not going to be a big number. You know, again, when we're talking about the market on close imbalances, those are trades that are going to happen right at 4 o'clock, both on the NASDAQ and on the NYSE, and it's just a way for traders to sort of offset bigger positions and find the liquidity without affecting the price of the stock. So what people realize that watch our show obviously is that the price of the stock is not necessarily reflected anything at 350. It's more just what happens sort of into the very close. So from 350 to 4 is kind of the action that will be looked at from a stock market perspective. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. Oh yeah, and by the way, there goes Microsoft right back to the top of the range again. Yeah, so I got stopped out as well on that move and punched a little bit long by accident. So we'll get out of that one. As there we go, man. I told you, like, my whole net today is Microsoft. Like, if it wasn't for that, I'd be up today. So that's okay. We'll leave it alone, or will I? Yeah, let's leave it alone. We've lost too much there on Microsoft today, which is, it's fine, man. This is the first of the month. It's not, but it's for me, the first of the month. So, wake up, wake up. Shout out to Playmaker there. He put some Bone Thugs in there again.
Grab your check.
You like to see a 1-week trading challenge? Yeah, okay. That would be fine for those guys. I don't know if we can actually arrange that, but that would be kind of fun if we did something like that.
I never understood why anybody would actually do that, though.
I do it, but I don't know. I just do it for fun. I don't know if anybody wants to do that. I think that would be hilarious. What's up, Randy? That's not a man I want to trade against, Randy. This guy's just going to go long Tesla.
What are you eating?
What do you? Oh,
Where'd you get the fries from?
He bought the French fries. What do you mean? Where do you get them from? Today was fries. He's eating wedges, man. It was fries.
Oh, it's the wedges.
It was.
Look, man,
What was it? Oh,
a French fry and a potato wedge are two different things. In my humble opinion, it's just they're different. So I thought he had like fries from like Super Chicken or something. That's why I got excited for a second. Because anyone that watches the show knows that every time Trader Pratt goes to Super Chicken, he comes back and he gives me a little bit of an afternoon snack, which every now and then I need. So I might have to get my cashews there to satiate myself a little bit. Okay, that's interesting. I just want to point, like, again, we're not necessarily ignoring AMTD and HKD and all that nonsense. It's just, there probably is a trend. I should have just stuck with this, saying back to basics, that AMTD, as long as we're not making fresh highs in HKD and you have resistance on AMTD, you can scalp short it. That's where I started with this thing. Instead, if it breaks out the top, it could go. Not that I did anything about it until, the pre-market was okay, but not until like today, and then it finally starts going. It's just back to the short side of it. There are sellers en masse. This is far more liquid than HKD. There's more opportunities for short sellers to short it cheaply, so it can be leaned on a little bit more. And then again, nobody actually believes on a fundamental level that they're going to be able to. And look, if they believe that they could bank on the price of where HKD is right now, I think it would be trading a little bit stronger. When this hit, I forget the number it was, but like it was a magic number, like 1,500, I think. The valuation would have been $5 billion on HKD, and they own a 99% stake. And the market cap of AMTD is what, like 15 itself, or I don't know.
No, not even, probably.
What is a market cap of AMTD there? Either way, it's got to be
It's like 150 million shares. So what is that? What is AMTD now? $7?
Yeah, it says 14, Bill.
Yeah.
So like
okay.
Right. So and that's
but alternating like every hour.
No, yeah, but also remember, like this, like the stock was $2 yesterday and $1 the day before. So like we're not thinking that HKD is going to hold up, and that's why you can short it. Just always have an out. If you do short this thing, like I was shorting it and getting stopped out later on in the session, but you could go back to that well off $9. It was pretty good. It just broke down at $8. Maybe you're shorting it off of like $7.50 with a tight stop and just scalping and paying yourself. But that's how it's been trading since the open. Has been wick top, and then every single top has been a fade. If you look at the pattern, instead of trying to force the longs, you could have been going in the other way and then actually making some money back. I wasn't really doing that. Well, I shouldn't say your Amazon. Amazon was frustrating for me the last couple days. The good day was when I reversed the long. It is still, every time it gets to 135, it does this. And it sits there at the open doing this, and you think that it's going to be great. Look at the barcode on Amazon, 134 to 135. If we have a red day and you short Amazon for 135, eventually it just feels like it has to. Like it has to follow through. But I know I said this after earnings was shorted. The only day I wasn't shorted was today. It just has not followed through at any point. If we do have that big red day, you're going to get that chance for it to fill in some of the gap with 35, 36 resistance on Amazon. Just has not happened yet, of course. You're in Tilray still? Apparently it's popping.
Yeah, I'm in Tilray, but it's you got pratted.
I got pratted
on that one there. But yeah, not popping. Okay, so right now that's okay. I don't have, honestly, guys, like, I have the biggest position by far today here on AMD, so I'm just gonna, sit back, relax, and not relax that much, and just wait for that. As these guys, yeah, they can see it on the side there. Yeah, as Neil's having some wedges. Right
I always think it's like the camera's on you there, and it's like,
yeah. But this is, I already tweeted it out here already today, so you guys can follow me at Trader TV Sean. This was our salad here today, so we actually had a really nice salad situation with some salami. I don't like fresh red onion, so I got rid of those, but I don't know what Apple's doing with all this, but there's some nice roasted red peppers. We got some olives chilling out there, some spinach. It was really, really tasty. Some various heirloom cherry tomatoes. Not bad. Let's go. Okay, so that was a good lunch there. I was happy with that one, as the rest of the boys got, or everybody behind us, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think it was, they always say fancy things. It's pub-style chicken fingers with wedges or something like that. So that's what that was. Fahad not
Don't hate on
enjoying it
Don't
as
hate on
well.
the food,
So
Fahad.
okay, Fahad, I'll take you off the meal plan. That's no problem for that one. So he doesn't want. Same as Pratt. He boot these guys off. They can go to Super Chicken every day. But okay, no. Fahad was telling me that he was long APDN as well. So he's used to be CEO of Veru. He forfeited that position. Now
Watch it. It's halt. Watch it.
Yeah, he knows it's halted, man. He's the one halting this stuff.
But this is actually, so it's just pulled back. This might be the first time. So it took out $4, made a fresh high, and on the dip, it then got back through not only 4, but then the previous high at 375. So it's managed to break through a couple levels of support on the way back in. That's about as bearish a move that it's put in all day long, getting to a couple of key levels. Still trending upside pretty nicely there. I have no idea what price Fahad got in. Hopefully still in the money, but it did halt down, reopen, and is now retesting lower. The trend's still perfectly intact. It just doesn't have any liquidity. I've never seen this close to 100 million in volume on a $4 stock that has so many halts.
Yeah.
And that's why no one's. It's just like if you're trading it, fair enough. Just understand like you can either have a quick trigger or just don't care. Want to be sitting in a halt, which usually is not my cup of tea to have to withstand a couple of halts and understand it hasn't broken your level, because there's always the risk, and it can happen that you think it's going to follow the trend and you buy it off support and it halts. You're like, yeah, but it hasn't broken my support level. It could just open up $1 lower. Like that is very possible, and that's why trying to play off support and resistance in the midst of a stock halting all the time, it's just a different ball game. Because guess what? There's no guarantee that you are going to get your out when it runs your stop price or your support. If Microsoft runs a stop price, you just punch out. You're not worried about it halting and then levitating like 5% past your level, but that can easily happen on APDN, which is a totally different ball game for a lot of traders. That's why I'm kind of staying away from it. AMC still doing nothing. HKD still back over 2,000. But I wanted to touch on Coinbase here because I don't want to go the entire day and ignore Coinbase being up 8% on the session, and it feels like we kind of have. I think Brendan might have mentioned it. Maybe the midday guys talked about it. But Coin is it's obviously relatively strong if it's up 8% in today's session. And maybe it bears mentioning that it had a pretty strong move. I'm just going to show you on my 3-minute the last couple of days. Top to bottom, essentially 60 to 63. And then breaking out of that top today, and then traveling almost twice that distance up to 70 even. This should be, I don't know why that's stuck on New York. Oh, it's so frustrating. I hate it when it does this. There we go. Back over the NASDAQ. This should be something that if it can get through that 70 level, it's got room to 77. For now, it's got obvious resistance, but this is the kind of setup we keep talking about. Like it channels at a key level, and then you're just looking for a clean break of that level. It's 64.20 right here. This previous high, that previous high. You break right out into 70, which was the day before when it rejected 64.20. 70 was that top the day before in the afternoon. So you go right to that 70 level. That's an easy structure for a momentum trade there, to take that break and play it into that resistance at 70 even. If it breaks down from here, I'd look for this to turn into support at 64.20. It doesn't always have to follow Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't doing a heck of a lot today, but Coinbase certainly is. So you don't want to get away from any good chart setup. I'll make sure I'll have Coin in my notes for Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh yeah, tomorrow. Wednesday.
Well, I could have just said tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, I like Coinbase. I just think it's not great investment, but obviously as it trades with Bitcoin, it can be right now. Yeah, Tesla. I just was looking at some Tesla there. All right, AMD goes back up, comes back down. We'll wait. And people asking about why I'm short this name now, just against this $100 level. I just think, I mean, I've been short it. We've been making money on AMD. Like I said, AMD is actually now my #1 stock of the day. It was Apple, but we lost on Apple during that up and down. And then we hit AMD right now, pretty good for it here on the downside. So let's wait to see what AMD wants to do here into the close. I mean, my best out, if we zoom in a little bit, is all the way down here at 90. I mean, basically that very bottom. We were just sort of waiting for that move. So I think we can wait again here, 98.86. As the imbalance locator was saying, 375 million shares to sell right now. So I don't know, is that true, Randy? Did Randy just write that? Is that a fact? Yeah, so Stephanie will be on the bell, so you'll be able to see that. So stay tuned for Stephanie coming on the bell here later on tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay. Well, Randy put that there in the chat, so now Stephanie, I guess, has to be on the bell.
I didn't even hear.
I don't know. All right, so we'll move off that. If not, then no. Okay, Fisker to $10, Tesla, Nvidia. I don't know, AMTD, we got out of that at the low of the day. Apple's at 160.50 as well going through. So we'll have to wait to see what is happening one more time. Tilray up to $4, but kind of stopping. So I'm just trying to review some of the trades that we've had on board now. Palantir, we're out of Palantir. We have a very, very small piece. We must just get out now at 10.95 as we get a little bit lighter heading into the close. With only a few more minutes left for imbalances. I'm a little bit nervous, of course, about the imbalances because I do have, like I said, by far the biggest position here that any of us has held today on AMD. So we're going to wait to see here what happens now on this name. So it's not really an earnings play. It's just watching out for 100 here. That's kind of what we're looking for. What I'm looking for is a resistance against that 100. Would love for this thing to fall back in. We're flat on the trade right now. I just thinking that if people are getting nervous. I mean, look, you're coming into earnings. I think AMD is probably going to have a good quarter, but you saw, and again, not comparing this, but we saw Intel get absolutely shellacked on their earnings. I don't know what NVIDIA is going to do. Meta got hit. Google, actually, I guess it's kind of
people realize how bad Intel's quarter was.
Oh, I think they realize now.
Not
it's
really.
trading at the same level as it was in '99.
No, but not like it was. It would be lower if not.
Right.
The
That's
margin.
True.
Like the quarters before, they were telling you that their margins were going to recover from the 50% range and try to get to 60s by the end of this year, and they fell to the mid 30s.
Yeah, so.
And now
I don't know why they guide.
But now they're
telling
you they're going to get back to 50, and you're supposed to believe them. And on top of that, they're spending a ton of money. They've been spending a ton of money. I said all of this before. They're spending a ton of money to try to build out the foundry, which is expensive, and the chips bill is probably going to help them, but. Spending the money in this environment to build out infrastructure is going to be a tough go, and that's essentially what you're paying for 2 to 5 years down the line. And by the way, got to get to this MTC. Brendan brought this one to our attention. You guys were talking about it in the chat. This one went parabolic and just another rejection at an obvious level. Like, it's just crazy. If I had seen this one maybe a little bit faster, and don't get me wrong, when I say an obvious level, all I mean, there's really nothing on the daily charts. When I say an obvious level, it just comes down to this. It halted upside at 124 at $3.70. Any guesses at where it just turned? At exactly 2x to that. Well, give or take 5 cents. $7.45. I can't tell you how often that will happen. Like, it's a halt price, and then it's a double up, and then it's a hard rejection. Also happens to be $7.50. But a level like this, where people are probably thinking, ooh, I just made double on my trade. Let me think about taking profit. Sometimes it's just kind of how it goes psychologically. Also, if you had the late $5 break, that's a clean move as well. But yeah, it's also a triple up if you think about this consolidation at 250 when it just broke from there. So once again, not all that complicated. If you're looking for a place to take profit, it's not easy to jump into a short when a stock is doing this, but if you were going to, waiting for a level like that makes some sense. Still strong on the day, up 200 and whatever percent. Another one of these, I think it's like an 8 million float on this one. Then it's already done 8 million today.
I did not want to interrupt.
Oh, shoot.
But, they came out.
No, interrupt next time.
And let me guess, MTC's a Chinese company? I don't know. We'll see if that is or not, based on what I was talking about before. So, all right, Google with a buy here. I didn't want to interrupt. There was really nothing going on. KD, Snapchat, I don't know, Coke. I don't know what's up to Warren Buffett here. BAC, Citigroup, so a couple of Warren Buffett names. He's buying more, it looks like. I'm just joking about that. These are not big numbers. So I don't know what it came out as. Brendan just toasted it right now. Posted it, 450.
Toasted it, that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. 450 million to buy. So they're expecting, it was looking like a sell, it came out a buy, so I guess that's why the market's just dancing around. So it doesn't look like there's going to be much happening here on the imbalances. So that's it. Brought to you by Daytrade the World, the world's #1 day trading company. Daytrade the World brings you the mock there. So we do have a confirmation. Stephanie will be on the bell at 4 p.m. So you're welcome. Thank you, Randy, for that one, and thank you to myself for reading that in the chat. But there we go. So she's going to be on there in about 8 minutes. So I don't know if she's going to be with Terrific Tony or not, but the two of them would be kind of fun on there as well. So we'll see.
We haven't had enough Tony today.
If that comes through. Oh yeah, I said that I would promise about the Tony situation, and I didn't do that. So
and it is Tuesday.
Maybe that's what I was going to say. Like we could get Tony throwing down today. Maybe we will. Maybe
whatever happened to Taco Tuesday? So remember, it happened It happened. So Taco Tuesday.
Because I put the request.
It got
into
talked
the caterers.
about. No. But then let's remember what happened to it. It was like the one day I was off.
Yeah.
In that entire quarter happened to be the Taco Tuesday.
Right.
And then they haven't done it since. So I'm getting punished. I love.
Put a reminder.
I love tacos.
Okay, let's put
They were good though, right?
I can't remember. I think there was more of. I think it was more of like a fajita Tuesday. I think they came like a more fajita style than tacos. But
That's okay.
I thought it was.
Ooh, I gotta get out of
I mean,
this.
we still have that. We still had that salad, right? So, okay. It doesn't look like, honestly, I might just get out of this AMD. I mean, we could sit in this and then eventually get stopped out if it takes out 100, or we can just let it dance around a little bit. Like, what's going to be the catalyst over the next little while to do anything about this? I don't know. So we'll put a bid out. I'm just going to cancel all my bids because I just don't want to have any like wash trading situations or anything like that happening. So we'll get a little bit more out there as it's. We're just getting this out for flat. Like I told you, it's a pretty big position. I was hoping that there was a chance these imbalances might have come to the downside or they might have sold AMD off this $100 level. AMD is my #1 stock on the show. We talked about that today. So, I mean, not just my #1 stock, period. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't go back up. But I'm just debating right now, do I even want to even hold this up to $100? I mean, I don't know. So that's AMD right now. Amazon, we did a good job clearing out of this one. This has been a great short for me. We're still in this one from all the way up here, all the way to the downside. We had a great short on Apple today as well. My whole day is Microsoft. So, I mean, that's it. Like, we tried to short again and got taken out. Like, what we shorted. So, like, that's what it is, right? Trying to be as honest with our trades as possible to you guys. So, Microsoft is by far, my whole day is Microsoft. So, what we've made is we've made money back on Apple. We've made money back on AMD. We lost on AMTD, but we made money on Palantir. We made money on Tilray. We lost a cup of coffee on Revlon. But, yeah, I think heading into these earnings seasons, it doesn't seem like there's been big moves going into the numbers. So I feel like getting out of AMD here with only 6 minutes left makes a lot of sense. So I think we'll just do that. And then if it tanks down, then I'll be really upset into the close. But I'm not holding this for the earnings anyways. So whatever happens at 4:05, whenever it comes out, is what it is. But AMD is going to be a monster report. And trust me, well, we're up on it today, but I was going to say, hopefully you'll be able to make just as much money tomorrow on those kind of opportunities. It's a great earnings board.
It is a great earnings board. We'll go to it in a second here. So I'm out of pets. That came back down. It actually went back up to 3 and then flushed again through VWAP. And then AMC, sort of the same thing.
Sharif.
We're out of that one.
What time?
It just wasn't going anywhere, so 1680 there. So, you know, I'm flat now, like flat. Why does it show me long? I still have some of the Uber left. Yeah. Okay, well, I have a trail on Uber, I should say, on Uber. I do still have a little bit of that one left. It's at the high of the day, but I think it's kind of, you just do the same thing. It doesn't want, like it didn't, the 29 break never came back down and threatened it, but we do have only 5 minutes left, so yeah. I should probably get out of that one as well. There's no reason to hold on to it. And let's get to that busy earnings board that we do see.
Yeah, we reorganized once again, so another change, just so everyone's clear. So the left is aftermarket tonight, and then obviously before the open tomorrow morning, not this morning. Some confusion earlier on that. Sorry?
And of course, it's still wrong.
Yeah, because Uber reported already.
That's okay. We'll get this all figured out. We'll get it all figured out. But thanks, Brendan. We did have some confusion there, but now we've added AMD there. So that's, you know what, that's fine. We'll get that all figured out. You guys know Uber's not going to report for sure. But I just, over my shoulder there, I asked Sharif, because he's been dead on all this. He does a lot of research into the closing trades. And he said AMD is pretty much 410 bang on. So you wait out for that if you're going to wait for AMD. We'll have it if it's somehow earlier than that, but apparently he's very, very confident on 410.
Yeah, some stocks are like very consistent with when which it would be nice if everybody did that and could actually manage to hold their earnings until the close.
And not leak them?
Yeah, there's been 3 times this year you've had major earnings.
Remember that Affirm one got leaked and then the thing went down like, I think it was like 20 or 30%. Then they actually came out, and I think it was even worse, and they even went down more.
I was stopped out of the short in Affirm 5 minutes before that early release, and it halted downside. It was like,
right.
But like again, it's one of those. If you're in the short and that happens, you're lucky anyways. It's just annoying because over time that should even itself out. Last thing to point out, Moderna's on that list. I didn't even notice. I didn't realize Moderna would be reporting. That's gotten a little bit not boring, but less volatile the last little bit, and maybe has a chance here. Like 150 is huge support on that. It's like $10 down. So on any break of that level, I mean, it's also the 50 period. You could see some serious fireworks with them. I mean, look, the vaccine names haven't been all that sexy for a while now, but you know, earnings can be a decent enough catalyst to get a boring name back exciting. So I'd watch out for that. I saw Regeneron out there as well. I also covered Intel. I decided not to wait for this late in the day. I'm not going to wait around for it to get to 36. So I just took it out flat before it even broke the current low, and it's headed toward 36. Suffice to say, I will not be shorting 36 if it breaks at 359, but it could be in play. If it's below 36 tomorrow, that would be in play for me for a short on a red type of day. I'd like to be able to play that key level in both directions.
All right. Yeah, you know what? SoFi is going to be okay. Good. So I'm glad we did wind up holding 25% of our AMD trade here. So now that it's at 25, let's just sit on the bid and take some more out here. There's some sort of, it's not an iceberg. It's just size there on the NASDAQ book. 30,000 shares. They should be able to get through that no problem if they wanted to. But right now, again, heading into earnings, looks like we'll end the day on a good trade. So yeah, we'll end the day on a happy side of things here. It's just bouncing off 25. Good thing we took some of those outs. But there's my AMD trade heading into earnings. I did mention SoFi quickly there. I don't know about this name, man. I mean, some of these beatdown names, they've given you an opportunity, where's my daily chart, to get out on them. And if you're still holding out for earnings, I'm not sure there's going to be any earnings. So we'll have to sort of see what they're going to guide forward. How does it look? What's the student loan situation looking like? How are the LA Rams looking because they sponsored their stadium? And of course, if they trade off the LA Rams, then they would be a very high price stock.
Would. Allen Robinson's going to have a big year.
Right now. Oh, yeah. They're going to have some good players over there.
Fantasy football, buy Allen Robinson at his ADP, sell Cooper Kupp at his ADP. That's my call.
Yes,
Kupp's going to be overrated this year.
Well, I mean, he literally had one of the best years ever for a wide receiver.
Nobody ever repeats a year like that.
mean,
and now
Jerry
he has a
Rice.
better guy. He has a good guy lining up next to him all season, which he didn't have. So he's not going to get force-fed as much. That's kind of obvious. 1 minute ago, you said who's going to be on the bell.
Yes, I did.
Alex, Sean turnaround and AMD 410.
Yes.
That's the time. So AMD will be reporting at 410 there. I'm not sure where the other ones are, like PayPal.
Is our guess.
What time we get there. But yeah, apparently usually it's 410 that they report. And I trust Sharif when he says that, because he's been dead on every time we've asked him for whether it's the implied volatility or whether it's when the earnings are coming through. He's more or less been dead on with that. Just to go right to a couple of other things happening. The market is on these lows, so we're breaking through on the ES. Tesla testing 900 as we get to the close. As promised, turns around. See Stephanie there with about 30 seconds to go. Her inaugural bell ring here today. It'll be better than Randy's. That's all I can guarantee for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad to be part of it here, taking on People's Trader and taking on People's Producer today, bringing Stephanie to the floor here. There's going to be a lot more of her coming through. We're really proud to have her on board. So with only 15 seconds to go, here we go. It's almost bell ringing time as I'm getting out of my AMD, and we're just going to have to wait to see what happens at 4:10. I still have my Amazon trade as well. There it goes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And there we go. We are now finished on everything. So we're going to get out of our trades here and then see where this market goes for us now. A lot of earnings on tap. Thank you, Ms. Stephanie, for that one. I always like when the bell rings aren't overly monumental. I don't get that crazy bell ring in my head.
This is the perfect end of the day.
What's that?
HKD halted with 41 seconds left in the market.
There we go.
That's utter nonsense. So the most nonsensical stock does something completely nonsensical at the close. And then, of course, because any halt in the last 10 minutes, it then opens up after market, after 4 o'clock, and then gives you a final print. So that just happened. So HKD halted, opened back up, and printed at $1,500. Brendan, we fell off a little bit at the end of the day, but how did we actually end up holding up? Well, I guess we didn't. How'd things finish up?
Let's have a look. Here we go. That's not it. We'll go back this way and show you that one. 0.64 for the S&P, 1.05 for the Dow, the NASDAQ 0.28, all in the red to the downside again. Same story for the TSX here, about a full percent to the downside as well. Crude, notably, did get back to break even on the day. A little bit of a bounce there for Ethereum end of the day as well. Overall, kind of how we started the session this morning.
Yeah, pretty much. It started out looking like, it could be a little bit bearish. You got a bit of a rally, and then, of course, the escalating tensions, whatever, and then the Chinese headlines coming through and tank the market, and we're back at those lows. But, hey, guess what? We got a lot of earnings to come through tonight. Obviously, AMD, PayPal are going to be big ones, so we're excited to be able to trade those. Don't want to sleep on Coinbase after the move it made, despite crypto doing nothing. There's plenty out there in small cap world that I'm sure will still be in play tomorrow outside of the two that we keep talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just get going, man. Yeah, we can have Sharif on the bell one day, too. These guys are busy trading behind us, so That's why we're not really asking them. But hey, look, get ready for some of these reports to come out. I think there's a lot of big names, man. SoFi, PayPal, AMD, Starbucks, to say a few. And I just think it's going to be a great morning tomorrow to be able to start to trade this. And then plus we still have the tensions, man. I mean, the tensions keep growing here on the global front. So we're going to have to watch out for a lot of those too. I mean, the macro economy right now seems to be a little bit in shambles. We also have the jobs report coming out. So lots coming. Thank you again so much for watching. Thanks to Fahad, man. The guy's running the board all by himself over there. So that's absolutely fantastic. Thanks to Stephanie with multiple appearances and more to come on that one as well. So that should be a lot of fun. And yeah, Prad, Luca, Brendan, thanks again for all that. Thanks Maggie, Katrine, everybody. Liz working on our social media. And thanks to my wife for putting up with me. And that's about it. Anything you want to say there, Brendo?
I just saw EA come across there, but not a big deal.
Yeah, not a big deal. Okay.
It's in the game.
It's in the game. Yeah, it's in the game. It's already in the game there. We'll see what
Brendan laughs. Wow.
We'll see what Allen Robinson's ranking is in EA Sports. Probably getting disrespected in that as well.
Sure he is.
The problem with Allen Robinson was Jacksonville, right? I mean, he came out. He never really had that great.
Has there ever been a top wide receiver in the history of the league that has had a
No
terrible
quarterbacks.
list of quarterbacks?
That's what I'm
since
saying.
college? He had
the guy went to Chicago and had Trubisky. Who else did he have? McCown.
Terrible. He had Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
I think he had.
Brutal.
I forget that guy that he had in college. That was it Hackenberg he had in college? It's like. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, anyways, now that he has a real quarterback, I mean, that's what they said about Matt Stafford too, right? Put him on a team, and the guy should do well, and that has happened as well. So NASDAQ's starting to go up, and we're gonna just have a lot of fun here. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully, my voice will be a little bit better tomorrow, but I think it held out pretty good today. And thank you to everybody for watching. I think we might have had a record number of viewers today, so that was absolutely fantastic. Join us tomorrow for more fun. For everybody here at Trader TV Live, I'm Sean. This is Neil. That's Brendan. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao.